is almost has become the plateau. And also, when we are talking about fishery, we need to go towards the aquaculture. And aquaculture, when we talk, we have to look into both, because inland as well as the freshwater as well as salt water. Or so in that connection, if you see the most of the export or importance of the export comes from the brackish water aquaculture. So there we have to put a lot of emphasis on that. So in this regard, this sector is facing a lot of problem. And we know institutes are doing, scientific labs are doing, industry are doing something, but I think there is a need to connect between these two, so that the growth which you have seen almost 4 to 5%, it can increase. And also the brackish aquaculture should increase significantly, because the most of the foreign currency comes from that. So means our export requirement will be very, very fulfilled with that. So to know what is the exact problem for the aquaculture, and what way institute can help, scientific institution can help, and how it can be taken to the industry level. I think we have this e-connect today, in which farmers are also present, industry people are also present, our scientists are also present. So this is really, in a real sense, this is the meet I think we should have, because here we have the end user, we have the industry, we have the scientific laboratory. So we are going to have the discussion for say 2 hours or 3 hours. So I hope that we will be at the end of this iConnect meeting, we will be able to provide some sort of I will not say solution, but at least we can tell in which direction we need to go, so that we should become right now, which we are having number 3 in the aquaculture. I think we should go, because we have the potential. So why not become or the top, because the problem which aquaculture is facing, how scientifically can be handled. So all these things can be discussed, and we'll have feedback from farmers. We have feedback from industry people, and how we can do. I think all these things can be discussed today, and if required, we can have a separate brainstorming based on this meeting. So I welcome you all again in this iConnect meeting, and I wish a very successful meeting, and I announce that this meeting is inaugurated. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Director Sir, for your warm welcome. May I now request Aresh Tripada to take all the dignitaries to their respective places in the auditorium. I'm glad to welcome Dr. V.M. Tiwari, the Director CSIR NGRI Hyderabad, also the Team Director of E3OW, who is with us today through online mode. I request Dr. Tiwari ji to give his valuable remarks on this occasion. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Professor Sunil Kumar Singh, Director of CSIR, National Institute of Oceanography. Several entrepreneurs, whether it's Growell, Mother Clean, and many of the other stakeholders, farmers, our colleagues from CSIR and IO, from CSIR headquarters, and all those who joined through online and in physical meeting. Namaskar and very good morning to all of you. We have been emphasizing and have been discussing for almost more than 2 months, how can the science and technology be useful, helpful in making India self-reliant? And in that connection, we have started these 75 events of iConnect. At outset, I joined Professor Singh welcoming all of you for this event and also emphasizing that are today discussing not only the issue which, which is important for the economic benefit, but also for the livelihood and betterment of the society. We need to understand that present day, I often call that how can we escalate our products, our services, and in that the a scientific way, an innovative way, we need to look to the each and every aspects of every kind of the entrepreneurship which we are starting. Today, when we are discussing about aquaculture industries, product and services which can be offered by the scientific fraternity, I would like to emphasize that we are discussing one of the very important issues of hunger and also the important issue of poverty mentioned in the SDG. And our country is committed to that. In addition to that, in the present era, when the climate crisis is being discussed, the aquaculture also holds very important position in addressing the issues of the environmental aspects, particularly seeing how can we reduce the carbon footprint and while having the less carbon footprint, supplying the quality food, quality protein, and also source of the other medicinal values through aquaculture. We all are very much aware that in addition to what CSIR and IO have provided the information through their scientific knowledge about the potential fishery zones, the possibilities of quality fish availability. They have also been very much contributing towards educating and imparting skills to the farmers who are involved in the aqua industry. And in that, breeding and harvesting both will be requiring over the period of time, sometimes the scientific knowledge base and sometimes even very advanced biotechnical information which can enhance productivity and also the quality of the fish. So I feel that this is one of the very important area where we are discussing with farmers, industry, as well as with scientists that how can we enhance our knowledge base and use that for the benefit of socio-economic advantages of farmers and stakeholders. I feel always very much privileged while we discuss all the scientific interventions which CSIR can offer to the industry or the society, and today is one among very important scientific area which we are going to discuss. And I thank my colleague at CSIR NIO for involving me today to learn about what can we offer and how can our services, our advisories be useful to the stakeholders. We can learn from stakeholders that what further they need, and accordingly we design our experiments, our future plans of the research. So I wish that we will have very productive and informative 3 hours. And as Professor Singh has said, that we learn from this discussion, a journey of learning rather than finalizing the plan, and we'll take this learning further forward in order to connect the stakeholders for which these iConnect events are planned. Thank you very much once again for letting me be part of this important event, and also for making me learn how best we can offer the possibilities to serve our society. Jai Hind. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your valuable remarks. Now I will proceed with the next program schedule. I request Mr. R.A. Shripada, Senior Principal Scientist, CSIR NIO, also an event coordinator, to give overview of R&D program on aquaculture at CSIR NIO. R.A. Shripada works in the area of aquaculture environment interactions and marine biodiversity. He has 5 ongoing projects in his hands and already completed 20 projects as a project leader. He is also a skill nodal officer for skill development program. Currently, he is leading a small group of aquaculture at CSIR NIO Goa. Sripadaji, please proceed with overview of R&D program on aquaculture.
Good morning to all the members who are joining physically as well as virtual mode. I sincerely apologize for the slight delay in starting the event because we were waiting for the farmers to come in. Now we have started. So I'll give an overview of the aquaculture activities being conducted at NIO Goa, CSR NIO Goa. It is not the full it doesn't, it is not reflecting all the activities what we are doing. I am projecting the activities, our leads are the research work which we have been doing, which can be helpful for the industries and take it to the next level. So overview of the institutes, we are CSR and Oceanography. Is having a headquarters in Goa and three regional centers. One is Mumbai, Cochin, and Visakhapatnam. So it works on all aspects. This is one of the premier institute, research institute in the field of oceanography. The research activities encompasses all the spheres of ocean science. Next slide. Our mission is to continuously understand improving the understanding of the seas around us to translate this knowledge to benefit all. This was coined long ago, but it is now more relevant in the now in the present this scenario. We are having 2 research vessels. This is to just give the expertise available with us. Next slide, please. These are the main activities which will be directly linked to the aquaculture and fisheries aspects. Next slide, please. This we can see that these are preliminary work which we have done in the field of fisheries and aquaculture. Next slide. Sir, now harnessing the marine resources, industrial process. Yesterday we had a iConnect event where the marine biotechnology, the potential of marine biotechnology. So many of the organisms having lot of marine organisms show a lot of potential to many of the this one. They also have the medicinal properties which we can able to exploit. This gives a opportunity for us to do aquaculture them because the resources are very limited. So if you want to go for an industry level, we require a large quantities of raw material. So in this direction, aquaculture is very important. Next. This is the project with Bioprosmer. This is taken up from the E3OW theme. This is ongoing project at CSR NIO Goa. So now, this I introduced a new topic. This is biomedical aquaculture. Means aquaculture of biomedically important organisms. This is a very now we have achieved a lot of strides and a lot of growth in the food aquaculture. But there is a lot of potential for biomedical aquaculture of biomedically important organisms. If you want to sustainably, if you want to start any industry, the requirement of raw material, large quantities of raw material is very important. We cannot harvest the resources from these natural resources affecting the biodiversity. So there is a need for again the active biomolecules contained in the marine organisms are very fraction. So we require a large quantities of raw material if you want to start a industry or in a large scale production. So there is a supply of raw material. So it calls for it is a huge task. It requires a complementary expertise from different spheres from marine biology, aquaculture, hatchery management, and also finally we have to compare the potential of the cultured organisms vis-a-vis the natural organisms. The bioactivity of the both the we can compare this. Next slide. Towards this as a this one previous slide previously towards this next. Okay, sir. This is about the seahorse trade. So one of the biomedically important organism is the seahorse. Large scale of seahorses has been exploited all over the world. Around 25 million seahorses have been. So there is a lot of potential to cultivate them because already there are restrictions are there. If one could see that there is 1,000 to 1,000 US dollars, 1,200 US dollars of dried seahorses. Also live seahorses also fetches lot of good income for the farmers. Towards this, CSR NIO has completed the cycle, and there is a need for aquaculture of these bioactive molecules. It is also a flagship species where the seahorses' absence or presence can be the indicator of the coastal marine environment. And also there is it also provides an alternative employment revenues because many of the fishermen were depend upon especially in the East Coast on the seahorse trade. So we can able to give them employment because if you start an industry, they will able to have a raw material. Then these fishermen can grow in the cages and other structure, other systems, and then we can able to give them employment. Here, seahorses has brought in the schedule one of Marine Wildlife Act. But the CITES, Convention for International Trade of Endangered Species, allows us to export of captive bred F2 generation seahorses. So we can able to try F2 generation seahorse through a certified agency in India. Yeah, next slide. So this is the whole cycle which we have covered. We have closed the cycle of the seahorse. So we have reached up to F2 generation. So there is a need because we also signed one NDA with the UK company. Other industries also are shown interest, though they may be interested to a brainstorming session next level. Thank you. Next one. This is a project which we have done in 2006 to 2009. This is environmental management strategy. So this is the one which project with three institutions from two institutions from Norway, NIO, and one company from that Hobas Aquaculture from Norway were involved. Earlier work, I am just yeah. So as a part of this project, we introduced the Hobas aeration technology in a field level in Kumta. Unfortunately, this is during that time there was a lot of restrictions of stocking density. So we could not go for a higher stocking density. We can go up to 10 numbers, 10 PL per this one. Why I'm emphasizing this? The timing of the release of the technology also very important. That time we could not do much work which we would have done now. So even the company, that Hobas company, wanted to start a manufacturing of that aerators in India at a very low cost. But that time we didn't have that Make in India program. So now we are having that Make in India program. So why I'm telling again and again is that when you do the technology, that has to be timely, and you should also uptake of technology should be fast. Next slide. These are the salient features which we have got during this one. But only I'll tell you 12 to 15, but it can go up to 100 numbers per square meter. Next slide. So this is one of the amphiphore species. Live feeds importance. Live feeds everybody knows in enhancing the production, and also for the ornamental fish as well as for the food fishes. So over the one farmer, Umesh NR, he's from that east coast. He gave a sample of that amphiphore. Then we analyzed that sample, and then we taxonomically it is found to be a new species. So we have named it to Granularia anivensis. So this is having an optimum size to be fed to the shrimp post larvae, and also ease of culture, and it has got a good nutritional profile. So now it is a need because in China we are importing Artemia flakes. So for that hatchery purpose and all, we can go for a amphiphore flakes. So that it can be a stored food. So it gives a lot of nutritional and convenience for the live feeds as a live feed. Next slide, please. So that way we can also save a lot of foreign exchange also. So this is one area which Honorable Minister Shri Giraj Singh ji also emphasized. During the course of mining, a lot of mining pits have formed. We have got a lot of vast areas of water. We have got now mining has almost now suspended, but that water bodies can be utilized productively for this one as a research activities. We have studied the morphology, geology, and water quality assessment of the ecosystem in view of the fish culture. So this is the very area where industries can come, and we have studied the water quality data, nutrient data, including trace metals, and ecological data also has been studied. So they offer a lot of good scope because they are having maybe thousands of hectares of area are there. Because it is being just being there idle, so that can be effectively put into use, and who are depend upon the mining activity can also get employment opportunities. This is the cage culture. Sorry, this is a mussel culture we have done on a small scale. I know Mitesh want to do it in a larger scale, maybe 10,000 tons, like the tons. We have done in a modest way. Next slide. So this is the glimpse of the activity which we are doing in this one. So we also got some 800 kgs of in a small raft. Next. This is the initial size was 25 to 30. It has grown up to very large scale, and harvesting is 6 to 7 months. We will get around. Actually, project capital cost is very small, but if you go for a higher this one, if you want to go for a localized, this way still cost will come down. So this is the activity which we have done. This is shows everything in one slide. So healthy food and healthy baby are healthy human couple. Thank you. Is there any questions from the audience or what?
If anybody is having any questions, can go. It's fine. Thank you, Sripadaji, for an informative talk.
Yeah, thank you.
Now we have with us Dr. Anas Abdulaziz, Principal Scientist, CSIR and IO, Kochi. Dr. Anas is working on microbial ecology and biotechnology. He has a lead role in technology for aquaculture waste management. He is also involved in conducting science programs, technology programs, and monitoring entrepreneurship. Now I request Dr. Anas to give an overview of bioremediation of waste from shrimp aquaculture.
Good morning, all of you, and thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to uh, discuss some of the products which we developed for bioremediation, our waste management for aquaculture sector, and my views on uh, industry academia collaboration in the sector of aquaculture. Aquaculture, I think I don't need to explain much on this sector in this platform because we have experts from industries and we have farmers with us who already knows the importance of this sector. But the aquaculture, uh, as our director pointed in his welcome address, it's a it's a major sector which contributes to achieving the food security and nutrition goals as part of our sustainable development goals, and also it provides employment to livelihoods, employment and livelihood to millions of people. If you look at the Indian status, India stays in the first, in the top 5 countries which produces and export aquaculture products. If you look forward, we can see that the population growth in global population growth is increasing, and it has become one of the major responsibility of aquaculture sector to grow by itself to feed the growing populations, global population. So we need to intensify or multiply the production of aquaculture production to meet the future requirements of future food requirements of countries, and for which what is required is the technologies. When we move ahead from when we developed our systems from low stocking density cultural, traditional cultivation to semi-intensive and intensive mode of cultivation. That is, now we are stocking, if I take the example of shrimps, 200, 300 pieces per square meter is being stocked in a pond. So that is a very huge amount, huge number. So when this system grows from such a low productivity to very high productivity, we have the animals in the systems. Along with the animals, the waste produced in the system also is increases. That is from the fecal matter or the food material, extra food material which we apply to the aquaculture systems. Everything goes down to the aquaculture system, the same pond, where we need to degrade. Otherwise, it will deteriorate the water quality and causes problems to the health of the animals stocked there. So that can incur, huge economical loss to the aquaculture farmers. When we started the aquaculture, it was in 1990s, not started in the 1990s. It was a multi-bagger for the farmers who got a lot of, huge profit from the aquaculture. But in the 1995, the disease outbreak started. Then only we started white spot syndrome virus and then white gut diseases. So many other diseases are present in the current scenario. So to protect the farmers to protect the animals from such problems and protect the business aquaculture sector, we need technologies. We need technologies, what happened? We need technologies to have the best growing animals. That is the brood stocks we need to develop. That is a disease resistance brood stock. We need probiotics to manage the water quality of aquaculture systems, and we need to target the animals to, to improve their health and disease resistance through vaccines, immunostimulants, or antimicrobial drugs or antimicrobial compounds. But when I say the antimicrobial compound, along with this aquaculture production increasing, we also need to consider the on-health perspective in which when we follow the on-health perspective, we have a lot of restrictions in applying antimicrobial agents to the aquaculture systems because that causes the emergence of antimicrobial resistant pathogens and the residues in the aquatic products. Aquatic products causes import restrictions, export restrictions, and also it causes problems to the human health. So that also we need to address. So that is the area where, if I look at the aquaculture industry like this, so I can classify it into two sectors. One is aquaculture sector where the pond is existing, the farmers are involving, and where the animal is growing. There are several technologies which are which are needed for that. That is to improve the health, culture techniques, or breeding techniques. So in that techniques, in that sector, and the post-harvest processing also. So taking together, we have made lot of progress in the systems. Even many institutions are involving in the sector, like ICR institutes are involving, CMFRA, CIBA, CIFI, and fisheries universities are contributing much to that sector. And there is another sector which I will say, which is in the background, which supports the aquaculture farmers through the production of drugs, vaccines, or probiotics, and immunostimulants, or even the feed and feed additives. So that industry also needs much support from institutions like CSIR, because if we look again back to 1990s, when these disease outbreaks came, a lot of industries came and a lot of products came to the Indian market. And most of these products and feed additives, if you look at it, you can see that these were imported from, other countries like Taiwan or Belgium or many countries from where these products are. Many of the products which is currently available in Indian market also is imported. So there is a possibility and there is a chance and there is a need that we need to develop our own products and systems which can replace the products which are being imported for this purpose. So that is an opportunity where we are playing. But when we come to the, I will explain with an example of the products which we developed, how CSR NIO is translating their information or the experience in oceanographic research to the product and process of which can be applied in the aquaculture systems. So for example, we have been working on mud bank systems of Kerala coast for a decade. Nearly 10 years, we have been studying the ecology of these mud bank systems and mud bank systems and the biogeochemical cycles there. These mud bank systems are the calm water areas during the rough monsoon season. And it is specialized by, the high load of suspended particulate matter and hypoxic conditions. We studied the biogeochemistry of that particular ecosystems where how these microorganisms are behaving and how they too participate in the remineralization process. So we isolated the bacteria, several bacteria, hundreds of bacteria were isolated, and we choose some 5 bacteria, non-pathogenic bacteria, which are non-pathogenic to aquatic organisms, and they have very high potential to remineralize or degrade the organic waste. So we designed the consortium for a particular problem. So that problem was the waste degradation in aquaculture ponds. When we moved to the high intensity culture, there's a lot of waste producing, and we designed a consortium. And that consortium, you can say I can show this that in the first. This is the, what happens in an aquaculture system. Normally, if there is no additions, it produces a lot of particulate matter, and the plankton, dead and decayed animals and planktons will go down and accumulating the waste. So when we apply the probiotic consortium, it is actually a soup of enzymes and different enzymes and bacteria which we know. And this bacteria and enzymes start degrading the organic matter and make the environment clear and the water quality better so that the animals grows better in the systems and the chances of getting disease infections reduce. And this is not something which you apply once and forget it, because when the culture days increases and it progresses, we need to replenish it with additional doses. So we tried this consortium in different ponds and different times this was actually the first FTT project when it started in 2016 to 18. And since then, we have been trying it in the farms. And the added advantage the farmers noticed was that it also removes or reduces the chances of macroalgal growth, which is actually a major problem in aquaculture ponds. So this is how we translated from our ecological informations to a product. And another product I mentioned about the on-health problem, where we need we need to replace antibiotics. But at the same time, why farmers uses the antibiotics? This is at the last minute, there is no other replacement. So they are forced to apply antibiotics to protect their crops. And but that is not a correct practice as per the new regulations and as per the on health perspective. So we have probiotics, but that all take the time. Phage therapies are there. This all takes the time and condition. So we introduced the photodynamic antimicrobial therapy, in which we have a photosensitizer, we call it as, and which on excitation with a light produces the reactive oxygen species, which kills the bacteria in the proximity within 30 minutes to 1 hour. So that is a technique, but this has got disadvantages and advantages. Disadvantage is or limitation, it's not a disadvantage. So limitation is that we cannot apply this therapy in a large scale aquaculture ponds or the hatcheries. Okay. But the advantage is that it can kill the pathogens in 30 minutes to 1 hour time. That is applicable to small scale setups when we need to reduce the bacterial load in a brooder, or we need to disinfect water associated pathogens, or even we need to disinfect or reduce the pathogen load in an ornamental fish, infected ornamental fish. This technology is appropriate, very good for such purposes. And we made a prototype, and these two prototypes, one is for ornamental fishes and another for live feeds or other purposes where we can immerse the light source and then do the therapy. So these are the techniques. This is the techniques which we developed in our lab. And when I go back to the translation, what is our experience and what is our view? When we go back to the translation, we have a lot of products in CSIR and AO in the pipeline at different stages of its development. We have the microbial consortium in the last stage, which is on the way to the market, and then we have packed in the TRL6 or 5 and lactobacillus probiotic, live feeds, feed additives, then antagonistic bacterial. These are all microbiological products which are in the pipeline of in the different stages of TRL. And most importantly, I explained with an example, we have the capabilities to make tailor-made solutions to the problems which is being faced by the industries. And that is the area where we need the industry institution collaborations and continuous interactions, so that we are expecting for the list of problems from the industries where the industry require support, academic support from CSIR and NAO. Definitely, I'm sure that with the capabilities of CSIR and NAO, we would be able to help. And when it comes to the translation, again, if we look at up to TRL5, it is a journey which a research institution like CSIR and NAO can move with the institutional fund or research programs. But there is a big barrier after jumping from TRL 6 to 9, where it reaches the market. And that That limitation is that we need to do a lot of field trials and market surveys, economical feasibility of the products, and all such things needs industry institution collaborations. Industry and institution, we should sit together and identify where we need to collaborate and move forward. So without that industry institution collaborations, the research outcomes will not move after TRL 6 or 7. So that is my view on this, and I stop with this slide. So thank you very much, and I'm open for any questions if there is. Okay.
We have one question for you, Dr. Anas, that you have worked in the lab and field, both,
Yes.
isn't it? So what is the major problem you have faced when you are going from the lab scale to the field?
Lab scale, you have a lot of control over all your experiments. But in the field, you don't have that control. We can optimize, so for example, we can optimize the growth conditions in the lab for applications. If I say with the numbers, you can grow a bacteria up to 10 to the power 9, 10 cells. And it is 10 to the power 2, 3 cells are required for application in production, or that can be achieved in a flask. But when it comes to the principles of bioremediation, if you want to break the inhibition from the existing microorganisms, you have to increase the number to 10 to the power 3, 4 number. That is 10 to the power 3, 4 number per ml is easy, 100 liter is easy, 500 liter is easy. But on hectare water, it's not that easy. So where we need to look at the problem, we discuss with the farmers, we need to develop technologies and and tools which can be used at the farm level, at the site level. In this case, we have designed a medium which farmers can use to brew the bacterial consortium and then it apply. So that our calculation is very correct. In the brewed medium, we have a high number, and in the farm, when we applied, we get at least 10 to the power 4 to 6. That is good to initiate the reaction. Otherwise, our products will fail.
Indirectly, you have to modify
Exactly.
according to the needs of the farmers and
Yes, exactly.
actually according to the field.
Yes, we need to redo some experiments in the field to optimize it.
Anybody?
Yes, sir.
When you are putting this microbe consortium, what exactly it does to remove the the carbon which is there? How it is working there?
Yes, sir. Actually, we do a in situ brewing. It's 100 liter pond water, and in that case, it produces it's a soup of enzymes which actually initiate the reaction of degradation. So it have the protease, lipase, or laminarinase, different types of enzymes. Actually, basically, when it comes to the aquaculture pond, this organic matter is the fecal matter rich in proteins and lipids, or the shell waste, in the case of shrimps, it's the chitin. So we have the enzymes which directly target that particular waste, and it converts into nitrate, which is consumed by the phytoplanktons.
What will happen to carbon?
There will be some fraction which is non-degradable, which will settle down.
Is going back to the atmosphere?
This process, no, it is not. Directly, it is not.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Well, Dr. Nas, the agriculture industry has gone ahead of times. So the principles are known now. And unless you come out with hypothesis of economics, industry will not accept it. You have to come out with some hypothetic model of the cost effectiveness of the proposed project. Otherwise, everybody understand money, production, productivity. Already there are so many technologies which are cost effective. And at the source, we can And now people are going for RAS, clean water system. And since 3 decades, people are talking about consortium, and they're good. But unless you speak with the economics, unless you complete the complete speaking with the economics, TOR, ROI, and its incremental increase in the cost of production, it will be a basic understanding. It is good, but not economically viable at the farm level, because people are talking 1,000+ PL per metric cube about the Venom. So please, you come out with the cost effectiveness, your hypothesis, then we will see. Because I'm
Yeah.
please.
Yes, sir.
Abruptly I stop it because you got my point.
Yeah, I got your point. And that is the point which I also want, because this is a multidisciplinary and leveled area after the TRL6. And after the TRL6, that is the invisible wall. What you said is the invisible wall, which makes many of the products not reaching the market.
No, tier 1 only we know that.
That's
my
we know the hypothesis, but when it comes to translate to the, when it translate to the market where this product is marketable, if the product is high cost, no problem if it has a specific value. So for example, in this case, we have calculated the value. Our product will go to the market less than 1,000 rupees. And we have made a set of calculations, go to the market with less than 1,000 rupees and compared to the market available products. And at the same time, there is a point even we can increase the price, because this is the only product which is available to a customer, to my knowledge, in experience in Kerala and Karnataka, which can help the farmers to remove the macroalgal or reduce the macroalgal growth biologically. So when it comes to a commercial technology transfer and commercial angle, we have some points to negotiate. But at the same time, there are other points, as you expert said. Industry also have some other questions. What is the shelf life, or what is the feasibility, application, large number of data. So these points makes the jump without industry collaboration difficult. That is what happening with many of our products. But we can stop in CSR systems, sir. We have hurdles or systems to stop at TRL 1, 2, 3, or 4 or 5. We have our evaluation systems. So we move with the hypothesis and concept validated at each TRL level. But after TRL 6, it moves only with the industry. Yes, sir.
I think. I think the point Dr. Mugdha is trying to make is, while you are right in our assessment in terms of what should get valued, but if you look at from the customer point of view, the technology, who's interested in, they would like to have details, and that's not very unreasonable. So I think we should take his message and try to work on it. Yes, because the purpose of this iConnect event is to understand the aspirations and requirements from the industry side. So I think every message that we get is an input to us. Yes, sir. And while there may be gray areas, we need to work over them and come up with something which can, be useful to everybody. And that's how we can get connected to them, and we can encourage them to collaborate and join us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I agree with you the point, and I expect industry persons also help us to, make their comments on continuing the discussion with that.
Sir, may I get an opportunity to ask a question? Can you hear me? Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can I ask a question? Hello?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
My question is, lot of good work is being done by CSR institutes, but a lot of it remains unutilized because industry has not taken up the matter and not brought it to the market. So it is more or less left in the cold store. Under these conditions, can we support farmers who would like to try those products? which are almost ready to, which could be, which are at the say trial stage?
Sir, as of now, we are supplying to a limited number of farmers the products. At the same time, with the facilities, we have limitations to serve the whole India. That is where we require industrial, participation.
In short, if industry doesn't find it profitable, will be denied the benefits of your work. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Anas, for your informative
I
talk.
think there is one question. Sorry, she asked.
We can take
That was,
one question.
she was the one who raised hand first.
Okay, no problem. We'll take one more question.
Yes.
Hello. Hello, sir. My name is Anmol, and I'm right now working in microbiology. So my present question is regarding to that. What are the sources? So my question was, what are the sources of the microbial consortium, and what could be the potential sources we could look for the microbial consortium that can use in that aquaculture waste bioremediation?
Well, that is a very clearly academic question. I should answer briefly, and I will take long time later to answer you. See, there are criteria for calling a bacteria as a probiotic. That depends on where you are applying. If it is a gut probiotic, for say for example, its attachment properties, its acid resistance, and pathogens toxicities are matters. But when it comes to the aquaculture or the pond application, that depends on what is the problem you are going to address. If it is hydrogen sulfate problem, then you need to design a consortia with different properties. We should be able to remove the hydrogen sulfide. Or if it is a organic load, very simple problem, we need to design the consortia which can degrade the organic matter. But the standing instruction, it should not be toxic to the animals. It should not be toxic to the animals, and it should not prevent the growth of animals. That is the standing first two criteria. Then there is a lot of things that I can explain, not in this platform. Is that okay?
Yes, sir. Like,
Yes, we can discuss.
basically, just a little more. Like, basically, we are trying from marine sources or terrestrial sources as well for the aquaculture.
Well, that was actually a question when when we started importing the microbial consortium from other countries. The niche concept schemes, the bacteria which may be active in the other countries and other ecosystems may not work well in our systems. So we always look for when go for marine aquaculture systems, we need to see marine developed from isolated from marine ecosystems. So we need to consider whether the area of application matches with the area of isolation. That is also important.
Hello. Aquaculture is very interesting topic and all people want to know so many things. I think we can keep the discussion later on and we'll complete with our presentation as time is running.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Anas. It was very informative talk. Now we have with us Dr. Manoj Sharma, Director Mayank Aquaculture Private Limited with us through virtual platform. Dr. Manoj is a fishery graduate and has also done doctorate in fisheries. In 1994, first time he developed 4 shrimp ponds in the salt-affected wasteland of Gujarat. Gradually, from these 4 ponds turned into more than 6,000 ponds in Gujarat, which provided a source of livelihood opportunities to many coastal fishermen and rural people from the salt-affected wasteland by turning it into a productive land. Dr. Manoj has received national awards by National Fishery Development Board for Best Shrimp Farmer and many national and international awards. Dr. Manoj, I request you to please share your presentation with us on Industry Institute Interface achieving sustainable blue growth.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm audible, ma'am? Hello, am audible? Hello.
Yeah, you are audible, Dr. Manu.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much, ma'am, and good morning to all of you. Namaste. I'm a farmer from Surat, Gujarat, and most of the time I speak on farming technique and technology and the shrimp farming development. So thanks to NIO and Dr. R.S. Sripada Saab to invite me to discuss about the importance of industry institute interface and how it can really achieve the blue growth and support the blue growth here. I could see there are a lot of senior people sitting in the audience, especially the champion people like Dr. Magada and all. And already Dr. Anas has set a very good tempo, stating that how important is the research and institute work to support the industry. So I will discuss about, because I have seen in last 30 years how this industry has transformed, especially the shrimp farming, and how good research can really make a huge difference. Because we all know that we celebrate Fish Farmers Day on 10th July, and the significance of the great work of Dr. Iralal Chaudhary and Ali Kuni on 10 July 1957, because they are the one to do the induced breeding in IMC. And after that, there was a real kickstart of a blue revolution in freshwater aquaculture in India. So this is how, the education, the research is very important for any sector to develop. And unfortunately, we say that India is an agriculture-driven economy, and especially aquaculture is part of agriculture. But what IITs has done to the engineering sectors, or what Indian Institute of Management has done to the business sectors, and I think we should cope up with that level in agriculture as well as in an aquaculture sector. Talking about India, I always feel very proud about this sector, that now we are one of the top in fish production as well as in shrimp production in the world. And this is, as Mr. Naik said, it's a rising sector. It's contribute to the GDP of our country. It's a $8 billion foreign earner exports, especially in shrimp, and it has a power, because I've seen from scratch in Gujarat that how it can really create an employment opportunity plus the food for all kind of a concept. So I think it is a great opportunity India has, especially in creating a huge livelihood opportunity in especially the coastal and the inland areas through aquaculture, in any form of aquaculture, whether it's a brackish water, freshwater aquaculture, or you pick up ornamental, you pick up seaweed or anything. There are many directions and diversification that aquaculture can be fruitful to this economy. So let's not talk much about the status, because everybody knows of that, but just to have a small brief that India is producing close to 18 million metric ton of fish and shrimp, because I have dedicated my 30 years in shrimp. So my emphasis will be in this presentation more about the shrimp, because this is where my expertise belong. So shrimp production, we are already touching close to 1 million, because we say that data export is close to 9 lakh ton. But if you see slowly last few years, especially in the COVID, the domestic market is also be picking up. So technically, I will say that India is actually crossing 1 million metric tons of shrimp production. As I say, shrimp is the mainstay. It is 70% of the entire turnover of aquaculture in India. We have on 200,000 hectares developed. We have shrimp production more than 5 ton per hectare. 90% of the farmers are below 5 hectares. So that itself is a very big challenge. And also I can say that's where the number game changes, because if you develop 1 hectare of shrimp farming, directly, indirectly, it helps 20 to 40 people to earn their livelihood. It's very challenging in this sector that there is a negligible domestic consumption, and I'm a great advocate of domestic market, which I will cover in last slides. So you could see the table how from 2010, before that there was a monodon era, and 2010 again, because we are talking about industry institute interface, how these research institutes and the government institutes have joined together to bring in the Vanami, which is exotic species. And after that, you could see there was a Vanami tsunami in India, and every year you can see 2010 to 2021, every year 1 lakh plus ton shrimp has been added to the basket. Resources, we know that we have a 3.29 million square. We've been learning since Fish and Fisheries of India has been written, Jingran, that 8,000 kilometer and all this, everything is no. So I'll just go to the next slide. Ecosystems, we know marine, brackish water, freshwater ecosystems we have. Types, culture fisheries now more dominating, at least 70-75% future is in culture fisheries. Capture fisheries is declining day by day. And there is a huge diversification when we talk about marine ecosystem and all, because I'm posing this data because Industry Institute interface we are talking about, which is going to cover. There are unutilized resources in aquaculture. Because here I like to emphasize a point that when we talk about resources of India, because here a lot of scientists, head of the institutions are listening to me. So it is very, very important that we should not only talk about the resources, but the question is that whether these resources are available for an entrepreneur to use. We don't have an aquaculture land lease or open water lease policy. That's where we only put up the slides of the resources, but it is very, very difficult that this resources is made available to an entrepreneur to convert it into a blue growth. But luckily that I'm into a state where we have one of the best single window brackish water aquaculture land lease policy, and which every occasion I put an emphasis that Gujarat aquaculture land lease policy has to be implemented in other maritime state, and likewise it should be on freshwater, it should be on lakes and reservoirs, it should be inland sector. We need to have a proper policy, and only research and education institutes and government institute can put a very strong word to the government to really make a policy for large scale development. And what really, what I see in last 30 years, I'm not a subject expert or authority, but whatever I see from a industry perspective or a farmer perspective, this is where I said that we lack a land lease policy for any resources of aquaculture development. And then we have completely dependent upon exports. Unfortunately, we are completely in shrimp farming, we're dependent upon export, and very fortunately, we produce 18 million metric ton of fish, and most especially the freshwater aquaculture, 9% is consumed domestically in India. So when people say that we don't have a domestic market, I feel little difficult, because when we can consume close to 180 lakh tons of fish, why we cannot consume 5-6 lakh tons of shrimp? So that's a different thing that we all need to push up that. We need to also work on freshwater quality, prawn seeds, broodstock development program, because now if you see the Vanami, 99% broodstocks comes from the foreign countries, and still when we talk about marine fishes or the freshwater fishes, we need to work very, very strongly over the development of indigenous broodstock. And when we talk about industry and institutes and what is their great importance, because they are the backbone of any education system or research system. So this is the setup that we have a traditional universities, state agriculture universities, ICR institutes, in fisheries, CIF as a DIM, KVK, state government, vocational training courses, distant education. So these are all long list which can really make a huge difference when it comes to industry development in our country. And how it can be done, like how industry players and institute can collaborate together. In my opinion, that there should be a strong orientation and skill upgradation programs, even both the side, even from the farmer side, the industry side, the stakeholders, even the research scientists, even the academic staff or other government institute. There should be always a skill upgradation program with a joint venture. And research education institute should always collaborate. We have seen that in fisheries itself, CMFR is there, CIFRI is there, CIBA is there, CIF is there, but they should also have a strong bond and interlink among themselves to to share their good work among themselves and how that can be brought to from labs to land. Because I was listening to Mr. Anes, and he said that they have done wonderful work on research on waste and bioremediation aquaculture, but has it really benefiting on the ground level? That is what it's very important. What Dr. Magada has raised the question, and our party sir. So I'm always believe that joint venture and a public-private participation is very must. I have also collaborated with many research institute and signed MOU that they can work and we can work with their lab and research and how it can transform the main change in the grassroots level. Keeping up to the update in the industry, because we know every crop there is a learning process. Because if you see, for example, after the introduction of Venami, everybody thought that Venami has come with drink ambrosia from the heaven, it is never going to die. But we failed to study what it has actually happened in Southeast Asian countries. Wherever Venami was introduced, the country has fallen down in 6 to 7 years. Luckily, India, there are new pond has been adding on. Though we are producing close to 1 million metric tons, but the question is that is really the industry is earning, especially the farmers. To my knowledge, 50-55% is the success rate, and the margins are so thin. So it looks very, very good on paper that we are producing close to 1 million metric ton and 45,000 or 50,000 crore shrimp. But actually, 50 to 60% farmers are actually not earning money. They are either break even or they're in loss for the last 3-4 years. That's where again there is a hue and cry that black tiger should come back to our country, because it's a native species and Venami is not actually working the way it should work. So this kind of backhand research is very, very must for any institute, because as I said, 90% farmers are below 5 hectares. They don't have their capital to develop for their own infrastructure. So how any small player will invest 100-200 crore in any broodstock development program or a nucleus breeding program or a genetic diversification? So this is where we have huge funds, especially the Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana, which is actually linked through government to government agencies, and hardly the beneficiary quotient is less than 25%. So this is where the institutes can really come forward to support the industry, because these are the basic research program which basically an industry person cannot take it up because of its own limitations. So as I said, there is a need for these policies. Why I am putting up to the institutes? Because a lot of government bodies, the directors, the retired directors, the many other institutes are part of the rules and regulations, especially on the regulatory authority. So they are the biggest voice they can create. And why I'm saying this, because now Coastal Aquaculture Authority, which was formed in 2005, is due for amendment. Now, a lot of suggestions have been forwarded, because here this program is in Goa, and a lot of my farmers friends are sitting there in Goa. Especially the CRZ issue is really hampering an entire development process of aquaculture in Goa and Maharashtra. So, because one thing I understand, that when you say that 200-meter line aquaculture cannot be developed, so my question is that, especially because it is directly affecting my Gujarat. Because 200-meter farm, if I obey the CRZ line and construct 200-meter farm, so where I'm going to construct my pump house and pump line? It has to be on the face of the creek. So at least this kind of a points, this kind of a support system which can actually interlink between the government agencies, and they can really work very pro for the farmers. Because we don't have a say when it comes to regulatory authority. We've been crying from many years that there should be representation from the farmers and the industries when we really need to put up our requirements. So this is where an industry institute can really collaborate and work for the betterment. Now, just 1 minute, I think the slide has just pushed back. Just 1 minute. So coming back to my part, that how a well-educated well-informed graduate can really come and make a change at the grassroots level. I'm very lucky that I've been done my master's degree in CIFE, and whatever I learned in aquaculture has really helped me a lot to really do very good in Gujarat. In 1994, you could see my picture when we started with 4 pond. Even 2-ton, 3-ton production we used to prove products, and then whatever left 100 kilo, 200 kilo in hand picking, we used to literally, I used to bring it because there was no shrimp production in my area, and there was very less awareness. And being Gujarat was having a taboo of vegetarianism, it was very difficult even to sell 100, 200 kilo in 1994-95. You could see me with 10-20 kilo actually sitting on the dike of the pond and offering the people that they can buy. From there to now in 28 years, I myself producing 1,000 ton and exporting to each and every country from India, and we have to change from 4 ponds to now almost 25,000 acres, from few tons to 50,000 ton production in Gujarat. You could see transforming lives of Gujarat. This has only enabled for me because I had a very good education in a very good institute where all professionals are trained. This is how it has transformed, because in 1994, after graduation in CIFE, I started with 4 pond, 4 pond became 400, 400 became 4,000, now 25,000 acres have been developed, producing world-class shrimp worth 2,500 crore rupees. And the wonderful part about this development is that entire Kharland, Westland, which is lying ideally from ages, has transformed into a livelihood opportunity. And this is where it echoes with the 2 slogans of our Honorable Prime Minister, West to Well. This West affected Kharland is now producing a shrimp per pond, nothing less than $35,000, so, and creating an employment for more than 20-30 people. And this is where my story has been published, a journey called Small from Jinga to Jingalala, and I'm very glad and blessed that God has given me this immense opportunity to contribute to the livelihood from the poorest poor people. And this is where I established 2005 years my company, My Aquaculture Private Limited. Today I have a 200-hectare farm operation, plus the farmers, those who joined with me in satellite farming, they are also having 200 hectares. So total, I'm producing close to 1,000 ton. Whether it's a monodon era or a Venami, and again reverting back to monodon, I always done very good in shrimp farming, and I'm very proud of myself, the kind of sustainable practices I do. I give a very clear message that if shrimp farming if you do it with responsible way, I think you will never lose a single penny. I am the live example in front of you. In last 28 years, I have never lost a single rupee in shrimp farming, and always grown steadily and strongly. So this is where, last but not the least, because when we talk about what really our country needs, I think the industry has really grown well, and I'm very proud and congratulate each and everybody who are with the shrimp farming industry, whether it's a research scientist, even from the labor to the retail giants, everybody. I'm very thankful that India is now one of the top leading nations in the world. But that also comes with a fear factor that we are completely dependent upon exports, especially 10 to 12 countries are actually behind only 2 countries, that is US and China, for the entire exports. And I feel that it's a very scary game, that we should not be dependent upon only these 2 countries for our exports. So I strongly urge to the industry and institute players that we also need, especially shrimp farming, also need something like NEC, National Egg Coordinating Committee. The slogan of Sunday hoya Monday Rose Khai Ande, that kind of slogan has transformed the fortune and the fate of poultry industry, and this kind of thing is actually needed for shrimp. And again, I'm repeating that when we say that aquaculture or aquaculture produce, we don't have a market. So I don't go by that, because 200 lakh tons of fish is consumed in our own country. So why not only few lakh tons of shrimp? So this is where a modest approach I have done. From last 5 years, I've been crying that there is a great degree of scope, that we have 1.35 crore, 1.35 billion population, 135 crore. And if they eat only 100 gram shrimp or 200 gram shrimp per month, or maybe few kilos in a year, So I think we can really finish our 1 million metric ton, and that can really give a very big support to the shrimp farmer. So this is my Jingalala concept, which is just a 60-seating restaurant. All traditional Kashmir to Kanyakumari, east to west, from Bengal to Kerala, all 45 top engineered dishes, which is really catching up very well. And this is where I personally feel that for me, aquaculture and the blue economy is not for an individual or a company. I think it's for the people, the community, and the country, because it has a great power to transform the mankind to produce large scale food and profit for all. And especially a practical packed grassroots principle education system, especially in aquaculture, can really transform lives in our country, and everybody can earn food and profit for all. And once again, thank you so much, Dr. R.S. Ripada and NIO, for giving me this chance to interact with the scientists and the research institutes, all people, especially the farmers. Thank you, and God bless all. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Dr. Manoj, you are a true inspiration for the farmers. Dr. Manoj, I have one question for you from the audience.
Yes, ma'am.
You have a big area under the sheep farming. So some people from here wants to know your willingness to take a new product from the research institutes like us, or directly your willingness or risking to adopt a new technology. Will you do it?
Of course, ma'am. I've been doing that for many time, and I'll be the happiest person, because I'm also the past president of GAVDA and Gujarat Aquaculture Association. I've been a main player, because we have almost 25,000 acres at your disposal, and I have my own control of 500 hectares. So I have my hatchery, I have my nurseries, I have my own probiotic manufacturing unit. I have my farm. I do monodon, I do vanami, I do some fishes. So everybody, any institute person or director sitting there, and I will be the happiest person to collaborate in the industry for the real development at the grassroots level. Because if you see the data, I think that Dr. Shivkumar Magadha is there. When we were in fisheries college, our last option was to go to fisheries if you don't get a chance in engineering or a medical science. But today I feel so proud that we have odd 29-30 fisheries college, and there is a long wait list, and that really pumps up my 100-gram blood in myself, because this is where now even the young graduate from agriculture or zoology or biology field feels that once you graduate and you have a strong will. So I think 50,000 or 1 lakh rupees salary per month has become a very easy opportunity in aquaculture. And above all, I urge to the students, those who are listening to me, try to become what I have done. See, you become your own owner. You start your own company. Don't become a job seeker. Become a job giver. You know, today really you can done. And whenever you say that any collaboration has to be done, like how Ajit Patel Sahab has said, if you have a product, whether good or bad, we need to work. Unless and until it has been done trial on the farms, we couldn't come out with the product reliability or testimony. So as Dr. Shivkumar said, it is very important, because farmers are very sharp, very clever. They will see profit in each and every aspect they do. And it's a pragmatic way, because they are here to survive, and only profits can make them survive. So if it is a profitable and it's a workable and cost effective, I think each and every research is welcome at my farm.
Thank you, Dr. Manoj, for all supports you are ready to provide. And thank you for your very nice talk. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Today we have with us Mr. Bitesh Shah. He will be talking on large-scale production of green mussels in open waters, smart farm way. Mr. Bitesh Shah is a director, Mother Ocean Private Limited, Goa. Mother Ocean Private Limited was established with technical collaboration with Ecomar AS, Norway, with a vision to get the world-class cutting-edge aquaculture technology from European subcontinent putting India on the world map of advanced aquaculture technologies. They have started their journey from the state of Goa, as Goa is rich in biodiversity. His experience in this field will surely help the crowd present here.
Good morning, everybody. I firstly thank you, Dr. Shripada and NIO, to giving an opportunity to put across our technology and efforts for getting the advanced technology to the country. The prior dignitaries and all mentioned, that people are working a lot into the brackish water technology and brackish water aquaculture. But yet, we are not talking about a huge amount of aquaculture production that is in the open sea. There's a huge space available. Whatever the conventional methods are there, they are usually dangerous, a little bit of difficulties with the manpower and all. So we need to talk about the technologies. We need to talk about machineries. We need to talk about automations, like the way inland industries are growing. This industries needs to grow. Now, we have set up Mother Ocean in the state of Goa, as Goa being the very rich in biodiversity, and the availability of the biodiverse animals are quite a good here. MOPL is a venture that is been in association with a company, Ecomar AS from Norway. They are into the field of mussel farming since more than about 25 years, growing constantly. And when we talk about the offshore projects or offshore mussel farming in India, probably Goa would be the first state, if they permit us, then to have this kind of advanced technologies, machineries, boats with machineries and all, to do the farming. Mussels, as you must everybody be knowing, India produces about 15,000 tons conventional per year. The conventional method is diving, plucking out from the brackish water about 3 meters, 2 meters of the depth, and then scalping, cleaning, and getting it to the market. Now, the massive issue here is nobody has any control over the growth or the quality or the age of the mussels, right? Whatever the divers can fetch that are going to the market. Now here, what technology we are bringing in is something where we'll be having absolute control over the growth, over the quality, over the sizes. So a constant and a good quality food can be produced. Even we can take care of the infections and the diseases and how to cure that and how to get the best quality mussels. Most sustainable food that is declared by United Nations. It falls in the lowest chain of ecosystem, the food chain, so it is not going to affect the food chain. In fact, a shellfish is cleaning the oceans, cleaning the waters. So when we are talking about bulk production here, we are going to clean the waters as well, making it more healthy for other breeds to grow and develop. It is quite much in green product, very high local and global demand. But right now, what we are targeting is just the local demand. There is a huge gap between demand and supply in the local market. Just even if we talk about Goa, we forget all the other spaces. There's a huge demand, which is mostly not catered to, apart from few seasons, where we are talking about catering it almost throughout the year. Conventional methods of farming involves high risk compared to our state-of-art technologies. Now we have our design boats and design machineries that will be doing the job. Nobody needs to even step their foot into the water, and these jobs can be done. Here we are talking about, say, if we are asking the government and the agencies about 1.5 kilometer by 1.5 kilometer of open sea, where we can produce over a period of time with the growth about 10,000 tons of mussels at one single space. Now, if the country is producing 15,000 tons and you are able to produce 1,000 ton at just a small space in the sea, that is some production we are talking about. It is defined as the superfood in the lowest chain of the food. It is very high in nutrition, omega-3, ocean minerals and all are pretty much high in the food. 90% opening for local employments because we are going to hire a lot of local employment, and this is going to give quite a good local employment because not only the farming, we are even setting up a processing unit for cleaning, sorting, and processing, and finally making it possible to make it reach the end market. The social benefits structure after a successful running of the project over a period of 3 to 5 years, company looks forward to develop a strategy and execute the same, which will help. So we are basically trying to bring up a showcase here where we can show how this can affect how profitable this business can be. The advantages of the technology that we are planning to bring in here is, the idea is to use and take up advantages of the benefits of our system, opens for more exposed area. So the brackish water difficulties are much reduced and are not the, I mean, you don't interfere with the local fishermen and all, and you have got your own space only, you are concerned about that space. Long lifetime on the equipment. Now, the equipments that we'll be deploying into the sea for the farming, that will be having life of about 10 to 12 years. So if you are just putting one single farm, you have the cultivation and harvesting done for coming 10 to 15 years. That makes it more profitable. Modular design makes increase of modules much easier. Now here the design is such that when we talk about some natural calamities, we can move these modules here and there just to avoid the accidents, or even just to save the equipments and reutilize it. Can produce up to 15,000 ton in a single module, making high quality fresh mussels more available, impacting on quality of species of mussel with advanced animal husbandry technologies. This is our smart unit, the mooring systems and the husbandry and harvesting. So we have got the mooring designs, the husbandry systems and all, and with which we have got boats that has got the machineries patented designs for the harvesting of this huge quantity of the mussels. The benefits, improved working conditions. There is no risk because everybody is just operating the machines and riding the boat. Nobody is getting onto the sea. Increased safety for personnel, reduction of risks of accidents, produce of minimal waste. Here the waste is usually reutilized as basic food to the other animals or the breeds. Thank you. This is a brief about our project. If anybody would like to ask something. Thank you.
One question I will ask you.
Sure, ma'am.
You have said that it is in the open ocean.
Yes.
Why not coastal?
See, the coastal has got a lot of issues of the salinity and the seasons. So people have been trying, I think Dr. Shipada, we had discussed with him, that they are facing the death or the losses of the culture when we are talking about in the brackish water or the coastal areas, because like in monsoon, the salinity drops a lot. So this is not a sustainable environment for the animal. So if you are going to figure out a proper place into the sea where it is not affecting the life of the animal, then you can have the around the year production, plus the sustainability of the animal is even much better.
But then what about food? In coastal area, we get lot of food. Means they get by themselves.
No, here even what our parent companies have experienced since past 25 years is that the natural food or natural ecosystem itself makes it possible to feed them. When we are practicing it out there in Europe and all, we are not feeding them. They are feeding on their own.
but there it will be less food. That's
I'm
what-
doubtful about that. That is why we are going to take trials here, right? Because the chemistry of the plateaus change, the chemistry of the continents change, so we need to make a lot of homeworks done.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mitesh Shah, for teaching us smart farm way. Now we have with us Dr. Shiv Kumar Magda, who will elaborate on advanced aquaculture technologies. Dr. Shiv Kumar Magda is the Dean College of Fisheries, Mangalore. He has an academic experience of 26 years and has earlier worked as aquaculture consultant in an industry. He has handled around 27 projects and published 17 research papers. He has been awarded National Chanakya Award in 2015, Dr. Abdul Kalam Lifetime Achievement Award in 2017, also awarded an Environmentalist of the Year in 2017 by the International Foundation of Ecology and Environment. With this brief introduction, I request Dr. Shiv Kumar to make us familiar with the new aquaculture technology. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Just give me 8 minutes extra, Dr. Sripada sir and the organizers, because I want the people to unlearn so many things. Friends, aquaculture, before I speak about aquaculture, I just want you to know the country is producing 308 million tons of food grains. It is all-time highest. And we are doing wonderfully well. And the Indian Council of Agriculture Research is the biggest research network in the entire world, and 18,000 plus researchers. And in last 65 years, India could increase its food production by 5 times, fish production by 15 times. We took 65 years to increase food production by 5 times, fish production by 15 times, egg production by 48 times, horticulture crop production by 10 times, meat production by 9.6 times. All is good. But in spite of that, if I look at the worldometer of the country, the population is 1.49 billion. By the time I finish my talk, 10,000 people will be added. In spite of producing 308 million tons of food grain, the country is suffering. 20 crores of people are suffering from hunger, and 30 to 40 crores of people are suffering from hidden hunger. So that's why the future threat to the humankind is not diseases. Future threat to humankind, neither diseases nor war. It is sheer crush of humanity and hunger. We have a greater role to play to uphold the human values as well as to eradicate hunger. So, country is spending 0.8% of GDP on the research, as against 3.9% in Sweden, 3.8% in South Korea. It is very less, but duplication of research in the country is a serious menace, and aquaculture, research on livelihood is a dangerous trend. So by doing right research, we can do wonders. Okay. Can somebody help me? Okay. So now, in fact, we are doing well. We started with wild seed. Later, people started manuring the ponds to enhance the NPK and started feeding rice bran and oil cake. In fact, they are not the preferential feeds for fishes. They were available in cheap. That's why they started feeding. But unfortunately, the price of rice bran gone up by many folds. Groundnut cake is increased. Even if you mix in the ratio of 1:1 and feed it to the fish, even if you take FCR of 3, the cost of production is 99 rupees. So that's what, more than the biology, I speak a lot of economics today. And later, people started using the aerators to enhance the increase, stocking density, started feeding the sinking feeds. Later, now we have the extruded feeds. And now there are so many technologies like biofloc technology, RAS. But if you don't learn the principles, people are busy understanding the science by seeing the process. If you don't understand the principles, you fail miserably. In fact, okay, I'll not speak about this because it's a peer group, out of 34,500 fish species in the world, 85% of the fishes are overfished globally. So we have damaged enough. So now with, right strategy, right knowledge, we can definitely, harvest the resources sustainably. And globally, 800 million people obtain protein from the fish, and 3/4 of the countries obtain their main protein source is the fish. Okay. So now look at this. We were dealing with wrong data for many years. When we talk about the country's production, we take even the newly born children. But conveniently, for many years in our books, people have taken only 60% of the fish eating population and said that the country per capita consumption availabilities per capita consumption is 11.8. But that's not the right calculation. You have to take the entire population. If you do it so, we are producing 15.1 million tons of fish divided by 140 crores divided by 15.8. So normally 30% goes for non-food consumption, at least 15.1 into 0.7. So it is only 4 to 5 kgs. It is not per capita consumption again, it is per capita availability. WHO recommends 20.3 kg for healthy adult. That is the recommendation by World Health Organization. So we need to travel not from 11.8, from 4 kgs to 20.3. So this is where we have to have a right science, right technology, right interventions, because we cannot be wasting the knowledge base. We have enough knowledge is already known to the humankind. So we have to follow it. So now, I said we are producing 308 million tons of food, not 292 food grains. The country's target is to produce 350 million tons of food. And now we are producing 15 million tons of fish, not 15. Our target is 20 million tons. This very old slide. So our target, but that's why to attain 20 million tons of fish, the country has introduced Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana with a budget of 20,500 crores and introduced 60 different schemes. So all other data is right. We need 110 billion eggs, 5 to 6 million tons of chicken, and fruits and vegetables likewise. But look at the country, 3.28 million square kilometer and 157 million hectares of arable land. Due to continuous usage of same land for same purpose, excessive usage of fertilizers, excessive usage of water, monocropping, about 9.6 million hectares of land said to be saline and alkaline, where Dr. Manoj Sharma was mentioning. 9.6 million hectare is not a small area. And it is increasing in all command areas, and paddy, sugarcane, all the ruling crop varieties, the yields are coming down. So this is where, so fish is not a staple food. You cannot use the paddy fields or sugarcane field into aquaculture. So we can use these declassed lands without competing for the good resources. We can produce more fish. Our challenge, the sodium salt is the serious issue because we have used enough, because entire country is using ammonical fertilizers for entire country 20, 40, 40, 40, 20, 20. But if we can come out with region specific nutrients, we can save a lot of P and K, because many soils, they don't require so much of P and K. But for the entire country, we have the blanket recommendation. We need to come out with region specific nutrients so that we can save a lot of elements. And these declassed soils, when you construct, even in a good soil, good agricultural land, if you can construct a pond in the 5 to 10% of area, all the excess moisture gets into the impoundment along with the sodium salt. Only by draining the excess water, the productivity of paddy will increase by 800 to 900 kgs, and sugarcane will increase 8 to 10 tons. Coconut yield will increase. So I worked in 258 villages in the 3 districts of Karnataka, Shivamogga, Mandya, and Zone 7, Chikmagalur and Coorg area. I worked in 258 villages. I promoted aquaculture as a treatment. Because in Kaveri Command area, when I started the research, the saline soil area was only 16,500 hectares. Now it is 40,000. So 2.42 lakh hectare was the saline area 12 years ago. Now it's 1 million hectare in Karnataka. So that's what, when I calculated the economics of paddy and sugarcane, people do not know the economics. So that's where I want you to understand unit economics. Biologists are busy in talking about biology, but unless you speak the economics, you have to convince the economist. This biologist must convince an economist. These two must convince an engineer. All the three must convince the policymaker. Otherwise, technology will not move. But our scientists are busy in producing, their hurry in producing papers. So now, if you're ready, I'll take only 20 minutes. So I want you to change thinking. So paddy, I said, though I'm from agriculture university, worked for 17 years, now at the animal university, agriculture is not profitable because earlier 73% of the people were in agriculture. Now it is reduced to 51%. But it is not alarming. If you bring the right technology, right knowledge, we should be able to produce these 308 million tons of food with only 15% of the people. And 85% of the farmers in the country are small and marginal, where the scientific farming is not possible. So people do not know the economics. So they are doing, when they do farming for 10 years, their debt will increase. Cumulative debt will increase, and that's what we are seeing, the farmers' suicide. So I want you to understand the economics first. First, we have to teach the farmers economics before the biology. So production systems, unless you know the minimum scale of economy, benefit cost ratio, return on investment or IRR, it is not a technology. In fact, I come from a place, Southern Karnataka, Mandya, where the paddy average yield is 25 quintals. The ruling varieties of IR20, Vijaya, Mandya, Vijaya, 25 quintals. When I calculated the economics, they are spending 30,000 rupees per acre and getting 50,000 rupees gross revenue by excluding the managerial cost. Nowhere in the world, in economics, you cannot exclude the managerial cost. The paddy crop is 110 days or 115 days for medium duration variety. At least for 60 to 70 days, a farmer, a manager will go to the farm. Even if you take the Goa is very costly, labor is very costly, Kerala is very costly. Even if you take 500 rupees per day, they are under loss. Not doing agriculture is profitable. So when I asked about the cost of production of paddy, many of you are from agriculture family. When I asked the cost of production of paddy, sugarcane, whatever it is, people do not know. It is going on a gross level. So I just want you to know, to grow paddy, the ruling variety in coastal area, it's only 12 quintals. If you grow paddy in this area, it's not economically viable. You have to invest more and get back less. I'm talking about 25 quintals yield, and to get back the 30,000 investment, they have to grow paddy in 2,600 meters square. I'm referring to 4,000 meters square as 1 acre. So break even is the benefit cost ratio falls at 1 at 2,600 meters square. Beyond that, it's profit. That is when you exclude the managerial cost. So that is what in any farm, whether it's integrated farming or commercial farming, you should know where exactly the BC ratio falls at. So for small farmers, we promote integrated farming system. All agricultural universities or KVKs are busy in identifying the components. That's not the science. You should know the proportioning of each activities, and you should know how a change in one activity will affect the production, productivity, and economics of other component. It is not just proportioning of each activity. So technology, it is available in the world. If you believe the principles of science is same everywhere, there is no separate science. Why China is producing 40 tons of fish? Why we are stuck at 4 to 5 tons? Why paddy yield is about 12 tons per hectare? Our paddy is about 6 to 7 tons. Only land leveling and water management. It is possible. So we need to follow the principles of success, because the science is same for the entire world. Our service area is entire world, right? So we have to bring the technology, understand the technology. We don't reinvent the Indianized aircraft. We understand the principles, come out with new designs. Economics. For small, 85% of the farmers are small and marginal. So economics It doesn't work out. So in Sweden, they have come out with very innovative idea. If you have a 10 acres of land in Sweden, if you have 4 children, you cannot divide your land among 4 children. All of them or one of them have to do agriculture. They can only share the revenue, not the land. If they don't do agriculture for 2 years, it will be taken back by the government. In Southeast Asia, the small landholding issue was solved by coming out with community farming system. Community farming, based on the square meter area, they take the revenue. But in India, incredible problems. Processing. So I'll tell you, we are exporting 11.8 lakh tons of fish and earning 48,000 crores of rupees. By changing the processing, we can reduce the bulk. In fact, earlier the purchasing power in India was not so good. But believe me, the purchasing power is so good. Only in any produce, if we can export 20% of our produce to any markets in the world, India can do wonders and economy will grow by many folds. You don't have to export all the things. Earlier, we were dependent on Europeans. Now, we are capable of paying 600, 700 rupees a kilo to shrimp. And people are paying 2,000 rupees for Ilsha, 1,200 rupees for sheer fish. So earlier, all these hotels in Goa, they are never used to entertain the Indians. Now, wherever you go, Indians are there because foreign spending ability is reduced significantly. So branding and marketing, yes, see, the Mr. Manoj Sharma is promoting the shrimp in the name of Jingalala. So if we can brand, I will tell you, one of my farmers was growing red lady papaya and the cost of production was 9 rupees 60 paisa and middlemen were asking for 12 rupees 50 paisa. And I've seen apples with the foam wrap. The same foam wrap was copied and our red lady papaya was also wrapped and we sold it for 30 rupees to the Middle East. The marginal investment was only 90 paise. So likewise, simple change. Yesterday, I was at Ratnagiri, people were asking how to sell our tilapia because cost of production is 110 rupees, whereas the wild caught tilapia is available for 70 rupees. So just take a areca plate, put 2 tilapia, label it, put the masala recipe, sell it, sell live for 250. So likewise, unless you come out with innovative marketing system, middlemen are there, but they have not occupied the entire market. You can do wonders by creating your own market. So hard work to smart work, I'll come back, and data management. And the entire country, of course, things are improving. But first, we have to upgrade our data. With wrong data, we cannot come out with right strategy. Next slide, please. Okay, I'll not, this is just academic thing. Next. So now, this is not from the books. This is all real economics. Look at the benefit cost ratio, last column, 1.4 in paddy by excluding managerial cost. 1.15 if you get to 50 tons of sugarcane per acre. 1.15 in 14 months. This is in 4 months. 1.6, I've taken the lower limits. Fish culture is always profitable with benefit cost ratio of 2.4 to 5. Even piggery is profitable, but I've taken the lower limit. But you must understand the MSC. For all other crops, we have minimum support price, but again, it is not calculated based on scientific tools. Somehow, they have delineated the managerial cost. We have to understand the MSC for all systems and practices. Next slide. Previous one. Okay. Look at this small pond of 100 meter square in Tumkur district of Karnataka, developed by Nikra. This farmer has 7.5 acres of coconut area, and he was under loss for many years. And for storage purpose, they constructed a small pond, but it was not holding because water table was too low. Using cement slurry and the gunny bags, they put it on the bunds to retain the water, and he started growing fish seed. Karnataka requires 60 crores of fish seed. We are producing only 38 crores. This country requires 25 billion carp seeds, and 80% we are producing. And in that 100 square meter area, he earned 9,600 rupees as net profit. To get that, he has to grow paddy in 1.5 acres. And in coconut, we don't know the economics. So maybe he was not at all getting any profit. Next slide. And shrimp farms, yes, of course, you are doing venom, I mean, tiger shrimp. Now people are growing venom. But again, the recommendation by CA, Coastal Aquaculture Authority, is only 60 PL per meter cube. People are stocking up to 1,000, 1,500. If you don't do it in a sustainable way, again, system will collapse because already all the farms are loaded with all organic matter, antibiotics, all that. But risk, profit margin is 150 to 200%, risk is 98%. And even if they get one crop out of 3 crops, they are doing well. But it's like a gambling. It's not a sustainable way. But whereas in Gujarat, they're talking less. This Manoj Sharma in all 200 farms, their stocking density is only 20 to 30, and they're doing exceedingly well. Okay. This one from Ratnagiri, and Goa requires a lot of crabs. They prefer a lot of crabs, but unfortunately, there are no hatcheries, and success rate is only 2%. Even in the wild, it's 2% from hatching to survival percent. I'm talking. So even if you collect the wild crab, mud crab during the monsoon, onset of monsoon, after monsoon, there are cages available. You can do in the shrimp farming, you can do crab farming also. In each cage, you can put the crablets of 80 to 100 grams and grow them for 6 months. And cost of production will be 600 to 700 rupees. And you can sell it for 1,200 rupees. In the market, it's 2,500 rupees. And it is in Ratnagiri. Yesterday, I visited 2-3 farms. They're doing crab in the cages, and outside they are growing brackish fishes and shrimp. And this is the vertical crab farm, again in Ratnagiri. It is in the interiors. One of the farmers brought the seawater through RES system. He is doing crab farming and doing wonderfully well. Cages, yes, we have 3.15 million hectares of reservoirs in the country and 2.35 million hectares of ponds and lakes. As Manoj Sharma was telling, the leasing policy is not so good. Somewhere we have to convince the decision makers. At least 1% of the reservoir area should be cage. And as of now, the cage, the fish production from the reservoirs, it's hardly 50 to 150 kg per hectare. If you can use, this is from Maharashtra only. They're growing the hybrid tilapia in cages in about 96 meter cube. They grow 5 tons of fish. In other words, in land-based system, you need 3,000 to 4,000 meter square. And this is cage farming. We tried in Krishnaraj Sagar in Mysore. We established 96 cages of 96 meter cube. And we showed the process again. In the market, because of the price concept, we failed. But again, if we can have a right cold chain, sometimes farmers know they grow fish and then look for the market. First identify the market, then grow fish. So this is a new technology developed by Auburn University, promoted by US Soybean Export Council. In 2017, I visited Shanghai to see its efficiency. There are 52 cells. There is a very innovative concept. They take up fish culture in only 1% of area. 99% area is only buffer area. They grow some bulk fish and completely flow through system. And we are producing 2 to 3 kg per meter cube, and they produce 150 kg. I've seen in my during the feeding time, you see only fish, and they harvest live fish and sell live fish, and mostly they're growing the grass carp and the common carp. Only one girl was managing the entire farm, and all IoT based. Automatically feeders will come, they dispense the feed. If the oxygen level goes beyond 4 mg, the aerators will start. All IoT based farm. One girl was managing this farm. RES, of course, under PMMSY, the country is subsidizing and giving a lot of money, and subsidy is up to 60% for women and SCST. And many people are willing to take up RAs without knowing the principles of water budgeting, nutrient budgeting, nitrogen management. In fact, the fishes will excrete 75% of the nitrogen. To grow 1 kg of fish, we need 1.4 kg of feed. In 1.4 kg, it is 30% protein. By taking 30%, of 1.4 kg, 75% is excreted. So it has to be treated. There are so many advanced technologies and industries much ahead of the institutes. In fact, earlier lab to land program was there. Now it should be land to lab. We need to learn from it. And bioflak technology developed by Urim, Omnimelec Urim. Again, wherever resource are constrained, in the land is constrained, and you have money, you can take a bioflak technology, but only few species are there like tilapia, pangasius, and shrimp. But unfortunately, using modular tank, people are calling it as bioflak tank. They're not bioflak tank. They're only modular tank. People are doing marel, Vietnam koi, and saying bioflak. It's not bioflak. Only omnivore fishes. People have the nibbling nature. They can do it. But again, molasses, sugar, rice bran, all are costly. And electricity is also very costly. So that's why the cost of production will be 120 to 150 rupees. If you are able to sell your fish for more than 200 rupees, go for bioflak and learn the technique of maintaining CN ratio more than 10. If you don't know that, don't take it there. So this is what you should know: MEP, minimum viable project. Unless you know MEP, don't take up this. And one of my farmers doing bioflak in the rooftop of his house. And in Kolkata, they eat anything and everything. They don't bother about the size. In our place, they need the bigger size fish. There, even 100 gram, 200 gram, they eat. So for home consumption, yes, of course, they can do it. And where I don't recommend anything. Wherever water, let there be fish. We need, see, and you should know the economics. Where is the gold? Not only in Hatti and KGF, it is there here also. Maybe you have to process 300 tons of soil to get 1 gram of gold. IoT based, of course, this is all intensive farming system. I will not go into this. So now, earlier we used to count the seeds using the coffee filter. There are counting buckets, and like milk van, seed can be transported. Even now, people are transporting in the open, the cement tanks with continuous aeration or oxygenated polythene bags, like a milk can, where you can regulate oxygen and temperature, you can transport the seed. All the farmers in Northeast and Southeast Asia, they are integrated farmers, because all the Brahmaputra Ganga drains into the Bay of Bengal, even the Mekong river. So there they have to manage salt and water. That's why by default they are fish farmers. So now, if they can do it, I've traveled from Mangalore to Ratnagiri. I've seen most of the fallow and wetlands, and they grow paddy only during monsoon, summer. Even now, if they can construct fish pond over there, in about 5 to 10% area, they can drain excess water, grow fish and paddy. And I used to see paddy from fish culture for 3 decades, never seen one demo model anywhere in Karnataka. Out of curiosity, I tried it in Chikmagalur. In about 1000 meters square, I constructed trenches in 100 meters square. 1900 meters square, paddy, Mangala variety. Believe me, even now, 1 hectare model is running in Chikmagalur area. We have a zonal agriculture research station. And in 100 meters square, we got about 7,200 rupees. And in paddy, only 3,000 rupees. In 900 square meter. Even now, it is working. You can visit. And trenches can be anything, diagonal, parallel, either side of the paddy field, depending on your land. And look at you can call this number. Since 10 years, this man had 15 acres of land. Nothing was going because it is saline, waterlogged area. I told him to construct fish pond in 3 acres. But he was not ready. He constructed only in 1000 meters square. He got only 17,500 rupees. When I said I expected more production, he said, no, sir. I got 17.5 rupees per meter square of fish pond, as against 7 rupees in sugarcane, 8 to 10 rupees in banana, and 2 rupees in paddy. So for 10 years, this demo in 2010, even now is doing. You can call that number to know the present economics. After draining the water, Normally, the sugarcane height will be 12 feet. It is about 16 feet. In fact, seed rearing is more profitable than the fish culture because it will be over in just 100 days. You can take up 2 to 3 cycles in 100 days, and seed rearing is highly profitable. And first 3-4 months you take up seed rearing, fish seed rearing, then go for fish culture. Normally, in one of the training programs, this Krishna Gowda challenged me. He said he'll give 2.5 acres of land. Normally, scientists should not accept such challenges. I was crazy, I accepted. And now he earns 12 lakhs per year only by doing seed rearing. Earlier, he was growing sugarcane, paddy, marigold. For many years, he was under loss. And he's one of the successful farmer. He has 3 lakhs in about 4,000 meters square. To earn 3 lakhs, they have to grow paddy in 30 acres. And most of our lakes are weed infested. There I promoted the seed rearing in jumbo hoppers. Outside, you grow bulk fish. In the jumbo hoppers, you grow seed rearing. Okay. Finally, I'll come to the market point. We don't know how to sell handle our fish. This is how our fish and squid is handled in the jetty area, and that's how it is served. So that's what I say. Know the history of your food, otherwise you'll become part of the history. This is, both the photographs are from Mangalore. We sell our boots beautifully and sell our food on the roads. That's what I request the entrepreneurs. Why do you want to grow fish? There are many people to grow fish. You sell fish in a beautiful way, something like Cafe Coffee Day. Have a beautiful outlets. And I was a part of Vision Group 2025. I promoted this idea. Everybody applauded, ministers, secretaries, but nothing moved. So then, see, this the dry fish in many places free with E. coli, fecal coliforms, all possible pathogens. But we are selling our dog food in a nicely MAP packed pedigree pack. So I want the entrepreneurs to do non-inventory business, go to the farmers, ask them to grade the fish, pack it, put the label, and sell the same fish with just Ziploc. Forget about MAP pack, modified atmospheric packaging. Sell the same fish. If you're selling 100 grams for 10 rupees, you sell the same fish for 15 rupees after labeling. Give the 2 rupees to the farmer for agreeing to do the business. You take 2 rupees, 1 rupee is the cost of pouch. I told the government, no, go to the earlier slide, please. Previous slide, ma'am. Okay. Okay. This is the proportion because 500 million containers are used every year globally, and at least 10 to 20% of containers are wasted. I propose this container model to sell the fish. If the business doesn't happen as intended, it can be shifted. If you can sell 200 kgs of fish and 200 kgs of vegetables, with 100 such outlets, you can make 28 crores of net profit. The DPR is ready. Next slide. Our competitors are KFC, McDonald's, but we are trying to sell our Indian food. But I'm not denying it. If you don't know how to brand it, see, they use our cucumber, our tomato, and it becomes Italian pizza. We should know how to sell our local foods. And all these, Goa is just 60 kilometers away from the Western Ghats. Plenty of local varieties of fishes are available. If you can catch them live, and you can make wonderful business. If you don't catch them also, they die. And they are used in the spa. And go for new varieties. Don't go for the common carp, IMC, tilapia. Look at this Netopterus skytala, Wompak bimaculatus, Vietnam koi, marl. So you create the niche market and do wonders. And even in brackish water, all of them are good, but seed is not available. Even RGCA is unable to supply the seed, and they have the ambitious number to reach. But unfortunately, we don't have the back-end mechanism. Okay. So now finally, production optimization. You should know the right species, right size, and right combination, right feed and right direction. Going for commercial feed is economically viable than using any conventional feed. Water quality and disease management, branding and marketing, hard to smart work, live fish sales, use of counting buckets, pre-booking, value addition, and data management, and no other magic for success. Anyway, If you have any questions, if you want to change, you should have these 7 ingredients: vision, values, strategy, resource capability, motivation, and feedback. If you don't have vision, you'll be confused. If you don't have values, you'll be corrupt. If you don't have strategy, you'll be diffused. If you don't have resource, not the money, the knowledge, you'll be frustrated. If you don't have capability, you'll be fatigued. If you don't have motivation, you'll doubt, you'll crawl. If you don't have feedback, you'll doubt. Thank you. If you know me, you can't be a pessimist. Change that. Yeah, that's my saying. Thank you very much.
Anyone has any questions? Only one we can take because we are running out of time.
Thank you.
So your innovating marketing is a very good concept, and I hope farmers will take it up for getting good returns of the fish.
I've already implemented one at Bangalore in the name of Big Bait, and it's making 8 lakhs of business per month. And even if you take 30% profit, the owner is making 2.4 lakh rupees net profit.
Somebody in Goa takes it up.
No, 3 years ago in Fish Festival, I told the same thing in front of the minister, CM, and everybody liked it, but nobody came forward. And KVK people and many are here. Find some people, don't push them to grow fish. It takes 10 months. Every day they can make money here. We want more people to sell the fish in a very dignified manner.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
I'm sure the knowledge you shared will benefit all of us. We are glad to have Captain Ajit Kamath with us today, who will tell us about innovative cage culture system. Captain Ajit Kamath is Head Marine Division, Sangri Plastic Private Limited. He is actively involved in enhancement of production and productivity of fish by cage culture in freshwater reservoir and seawater in line with the vision of the PMM-SY scheme. His ongoing involvement project in cage culture includes inland fish cage culture in freshwater reservoir, Hirapund, Sambalpur, NIOT cage culture, Chennai, and other reservoirs in Orissa. With this brief introduction, I request Captain Ajit Kamath to tell us more about the cage culture.
Good afternoon, everybody. We got involved in cage culture because of NIOT, one of the STEM institutes, 3 years ago, and we have been able to implement certain large-scale cages in India. As Professor said, to increase fish culture, we need higher volume. So I will Host, can you play the video, please? I will show you 2 videos where there is a success story of large volume cage. Host, can you play the video? I will cut it short, but can you enlarge it? This is not a very old one. It's 2 months. It's a link. I tell everybody this is India, not Norway. So these are 16-meter dia cages, which has been put in a reservoir called Hirakud Reservoir in Odisha, like Sir said. Now, what the good part about this is where there are a lot of synergies that has come into place. It has taken 8 years for this to come out, not because of me. There were a lot of agencies involved, World Fish is involved, the government was involved, and we have come to this stage this 1 or 2 months ago. Now, we have deployed about 50 cages. Year end was 100 cages destination, but we have stuck because of some subsidy issues. I'll bring it up later. Now, this reservoir, only 0.1% of the volume area has been allocated, and it has been studied and done it. It is not off the head that, okay, put cages here. It has been studied, each area has been identified, and the cages have been deployed. Now, you can see this is India, okay? This is happening here. Now, species, I know a lot of people have reservation of Pangasis and tilapia, but this is what is going on there. Pangasis is going on and tilapia. Now, the Pangasis come up to 1.5 kgs. If people know, they were stunted growth and it has grown up to, etc. We changed the way the cages were because the hands were getting hot, so we put on white pipes today we are here. Now, you will see the farmer involved. I'm working with the farmer. I'm not doing it myself. Without those people, it not have involved. You will see the fish feeding happening in present now. So in this, we have used whatever technology we have or we are learning from the world. I'm not reinventing anything. I'm just reading it, trying to put what is there already in the world. You can see bird net supports, which we developed for this project. There is funguses and the feeding process going on now. Because this is manual feed, where every time at certain hours, we have to put feed into it. I've gone one step ahead where I'm doing some like a manual automatic process of feeding, because when it goes to 200 kgs, believe me, this is not going to be feasible. After that, we have to go to automated stage again. We're working on it, but it is little slow because the number of kgs that is dreamt under this project is 1,860 kgs. So it's a huge amount of kgs. Even this, the harvesting of this is a task. So in this, if you read the EOI or what has been dreamt by the government is fantastic. They are making a jetty there. They're making way for machines to come in, way for vehicles to come in, and it's going on. If you see this fungus, the white one is still up here. Just put sample one there. Okay, host, you can stop now. You can go to the next video. There is, and the host, can you stop this video and put the next one? Now, this is another one which I'm going to show is at sea, Rameshwaram, this put by NIOT with local fishermen for sea bass. There are 4 cages put out, 2 of them are stocked. Yesterday there was iConnect 9, I think, with NIOT, and that farmer was there in this part of the inspection. Now, my point being is, we have the components, we have the design, we have the technology to do all this present at sea and at inland waters. Now, if you do, I don't have that slide with me, but if you see the reservoir statistics, India has a huge amount of reservoirs which are available for freshwater aquaculture. Coastline, 8,000, everybody knows, but we are hardly using it. We have problems in getting the farmers into this. We have a list of it, but I don't want to discuss it now. But Goa has gone into mariculture policy. I want to see this in the Goa coast. It is there. If everybody is there to take a challenge, we can do this right now. Now, in most of the cage culture or where technology is put in, the farmers are not helped. They're just given some components and they are not helped right from the start to the end of getting this cage culture into happening. To go into sea, we have already, like NIOT has done, we have done our own FE analysis to get these cages to withstand the forces of the sea. Yesterday, there was a talk about near coastal and and offshore. I don't think so we can go offshore now because it is treacherous, like you are saying. For mussels, you have to go more into deep. It's a challenge, I know. But for near coastal, like she was saying, why don't you stay near coastal? It is possible. Obviously, you to see the site analysis. The data is available with all the institutes. If they share it, we can obviously develop it. For your mussels, you can go integrated with the sea cages in Goa. If you are doing it in your, it will just take the feed from the cages that are coming out, what is particulate inorganic material and dissolved organic material. Those things that the bivalves will take. It doesn't have any feed to be taken. You just take it away from it. So this integrated farming can be done with cage culture, and the farmers can benefit from not even feeding the bivalves. So for the cage culture, what CMFRI says is a 6-meter cage, but 6-meter cage is not a viable size. If you want to go to PMSSY Dream, it has to be more tonnage. So if you have to be more tonnage, minimum, I think, so 10 meters and beyond. But to put cages at sea, we need clear policy for leasing. In Hirakud, there is a good policy and there's one window clearance, like one of the shrimp also said in how it happened in Gujarat. The same system is happening in Hirakud, where there's a one window clearance for cage culture. The same one window clearance has to happen for finfish. Otherwise, we'll be only talking about Vinami for donkey's years. It is not going to happen to finfish. We are third largest in aquaculture only for Vinami. But if you want to proceed to finfish and bivalves, we have the potential in India. Sorry, we have the potential, but we need clear policy. My presentation or the videos was just to show that the success stories are there, but it needs to be magnified to bring India to the PMSSY dream. That's all from my side. Thank you very much. And thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Any questions, anybody?
Don't give me a tough one.
What is the expected cost of production of pangasis and tilapia?
The cost, see, what I know is 78 rupees, but the selling price is a challenge.
No, that's the opportunity. That's an opportunity. That's okay. But what's the expected COP is 78 rupees?
72 to 78 rupees.
What's the FCR then?
FCR is 1.4. I'm not a buyer.
It can't be. It can't be 78 then.
Then
But
70.
then you'll work out. You'll work out.
It's very close. I do not have, I have it, but I'm not the guy who does that. I'm a manufacturer and I'm a design and developer.
No,
But I
first,
can give you that numbers from what is happening at site there.
no, I want you to know that's all.
No,
I want you to make good profit. Thank you.
My involvement is not fish culture.
Okay.
My involvement is to help the farmers sustain that fish culture by designing development. If you see what I'm going to put in Odisha there, the boats are mine. Then I'm going to put a harvesting machine, which will take 5 tons of fish from there, which will have a crane and a propulsion system, which will come in a month or two there. So I'm seeing the problems that is there, and then going on introducing more and more technology in there. Because otherwise that project will just collapse.
Now, under PMMSY, all the gadget manufacturers, feed suppliers, all are making profit except the farmers.
That I agree.
Thank you.
That I agree.
Thank you, Captain
Ajit,
Ajit Thapar.
sorry, Captain Ajit, I wanted to ask you last time.
To be asked, okay, no problem.
So you are talking about that submerged cages, no? Submerged cages. Because compared to the East Coast, the West Coast, we have got a tough monsoon. So the culture period hardly lasts for 7 to 8 months.
Exactly.
So,
that was my point. I had approached
thank you.
the institutes. We can stay 6 to 8 months on the shore side, say near coastal. But once we go into the monsoon area in both our coasts, then we cannot stay 12 months harvesting. In that case, there are technologies in the world which have submersible cages. Now, I am moving towards that direction, but our institutes should collaborate with the industry to get that technology into India. Otherwise, we will not be able to move from floating cages to submersible cages and give 12 months of culture. That's what my aim is. Otherwise, what will happen if mariculture takes a break and there are mari parks that are being made? 8 months you'll keep the cage. After that, 4 months in monsoon time, I doubt it you will be able to bring all the cages also. So that's where you have to think about putting it under the water. But that's a challenge. I'm studying it very closely. There are lots of countries doing it. Japan is doing it. Spain is doing it. Mediterranean is doing it. Norway, I spoke to some people, but the material that needs to be put in there is a challenge because you have to go below the wave height for it to not damage the structure. So in our place, I think it's minimum 4 meters. That means your whole cage has to go down 4 meters and sustain that 4 meters down there. Otherwise, it will be a challenge. So there is a challenge for getting, in yesterday's iConnect, NIOT is already doing it, but it's a prototype. How far it will go into commercial modeling, that we have to see, that technology transfer. But I can myself also independently investing into it and going directly to do research and bring that technology to India. That is our own and not anywhere else. This all design and development is all our own, nothing from outside. Anything else?
No, we also should have the right kind of species, fish species
The
to
species,
offset the
the
cost.
seed challenge, this all was discussed yesterday. If you see, they all have to go hand in hand. The hatchery has to go hand in hand. The broods have to go hand in hand. If you're thinking about finfish, okay, what has happened to Vinamai has to go exactly to finfish. All the process that has happened to Vinamai or shrimp has to happen to all parts of the aquaculture if we have to propel India to that stage of the world's first leader. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Ajit Kamath, for educating us with innovative fish culture system. Now we have with us Mr. Edward Mendes. He is a computer engineer by profession. He has served as a faculty member for 3 years in the Father Agnel Polytechnic Goa. He has worked as a system manager at Festival Shipping and Aviation Network in Italy, Spain, Germany. He has successfully worked on integrated organic paddy cultivation with fish and poultry, developed his own innovative model for integrated organic balcony or terrace gardening with poultry and aquaponics. He has taken up biofloc farming for creating awareness among unemployed youth and farmers, now doing trainings and installations, managing couple of biofloc setups on contract farming model. With this brief introduction, I request Mr. Edward Mendes to make us aware of biofloc technology for high-density aquaculture.
Good afternoon, friends. It's a privilege for me to be here addressing this audience. It's a high-end event, and I think I'm a novice to this. I'm into aquaculture since February 2020. Okay, so I'm new. I'll break my talk in two parts. Just an introduction to the biofloc, and the second part is my experience with biofloc. Okay, so I'm still learning, and I make efforts to learn more about the biofloc. Okay, yeah. Biofloc today is considered as the new blue revolution. Blue revolution was launched, but this is a new technology which originated in Israel. Joran had introduced this of raising fish in a controlled environment. Now, you don't require much of a land space to raise fish. It is done above the ground level. The tanks have been installed. Water, it can be done on a fresh water, and it can be done on saline water. You can create your own conditions, controlling the pH and other parameters. Now, biofloc, as I said, is considered as a blue revolution. And in blue revolution, what is seen is a rapid production, which can give you sustainability and also like the market value. Now, in biofloc, as my headings goes, like it's high density. The land-based ponds or the open ponds, if the density is like 50 per cubic meter, the Venami and all can be taken up to 700 to 800 cubic meter. And the mortality, what works out is with an experienced person is up to 10% or even 5%. Venami is one that's taking up everyone by some in biofloc. And many people are successful in doing the Venami culture. Whereas in Goa, since I was the first one to get it done, it was accidentally done. I'll speak about it later. I did succeed with some part of it, but then we realized in Goa we have rains for 6 months.
and the culture fails. Now, it works on two basic principles. One is the wastewater and the carbon ratio, balancing the CN ratio. Now, how it works on the wastewater is like only minimal water or zero water exchange takes place in biofloc. The water is released once in 15 days, depending on the sludge that's developed underneath. Otherwise, the sludge is utilized through the flock that is generated in the tank. Here is a picture of like flock, how it works. It's like a mucus. It's the aggregate of many bacteria, microorganisms, algae, bacteria, and photoplanktons. Now here what is happening is like it's a matrix, like a network that's been held together. And this is generated within the tank using probiotics and other items. Now here, what it does is, it works this way. You have your fish, finfish or the prawns, the excreta, the waste, which goes inside in the tank. The flock leaves on that. And the additional what flock requires is the carbon source. So part of it is converted back into proteins for the fish and part gets wasted. That is what we drain out. So here, whatever ammonia generated, it's broken up by the bacteria present inside into nitrate and nitrite. So there is nitrification process that's taking place here. If you see here, it just explains how the excreta and all other things are been utilized. It's a cycle that's there taking place within the biofloc unit. This gives you a better understanding, the nitrification and the cycle. Now here what is happening is nitrification. The ammonia is broken down into nitrate and then to nitrite, and the nitrogen gases are released. Whereas in the other, the uneaten food and the fish waste is broken down into proteins and excess is drained out through the sludge. Now here is one picture like a complete tank setup. Now here what we do is, there's a procedure which you need to follow when you fill the tank. It can be either sweet water, fresh water, or the saline water. You need to create your flock first before you stock your seeds. And depending on what you do, whether it's prawns, shrimps, or finfish, the flock content has to be checked. Once this is done, your stocking is done in your grow out tanks. And once they grow sufficiently, you transfer them back here. Otherwise, you get a mortality in a bigger tank. So as I said, the mortality is only 10 to 15%. The reason being is you don't use water every day. It's only like once you fill it up, you can have this water till your culture is done. Now, in case of Venami, it's 120 days. And in case of tilapia, that's like mostly people do it in tilapia because they find it easy to handle. So tilapia has been done in Goa. That's like people harvest at 6 months. And during the 6 months, the average growth that what we have seen is 380 grams, 350 to 380 grams. Whereas the streams in 120 days grows between 25 to 28, but the mortality is high because of certain climatic conditions. Okay, so this is a little bit of biofloc that I read the introduction. The tanks are raised tanks. They can be either tarpaulin or cement tanks. The fish, other than shrimps, shrimps and finfish can be fungaceous, which is common again. Stingray, mangur, even one of my student, I would say, like because I started training them up, tried pearl spot. But pearl spot in Goa is not a success. It takes 8 to 9 months. So if you calculate the FCR, it's on the higher side. Tilapia grows well, and there's a market also when you sell it fresh at the tank, live harvest, you can get up to 400 rupees a kilo. Whereas the streams, depending on the season, you can get 400 to 700 rupees a kilo. Okay, during rainy season when there's no fishing, you can get up to 700 rupees a kilo. Yeah, so that's about biofloc. Now, my experience with biofloc. I accidentally got into this biofloc. Actually, I'm more into organic farming, land-based organic farming. Dr. Shiv Kumar has just shown one paddy cultivation with fish channel. I had tried that in a 700 square meter land with a poultry, fish, I put tilapias and paddy. And what I could get from there is 34,000. I got around 14,000 from poultry eggs, another 15,000 from fish, and rest was from paddy. It was organic paddy. So I didn't get much from the paddy, but it was more from the fish and the 700 square meters. Okay, there was a pond that was created. I don't have the picture because it's like I was not aware. Pond was created of 200 square meter, and the trenches all around the plot. So that was there, and so I found it nice, innovative, and like I have other paddy fields. I thought of doing it over there, but the problem is in Goa we face a lot of people coming to rob your fish, and since the fields are far away, like I couldn't keep anyone to guard them, and also there were robberies taking place. So I had to, stop that. And last February 2022, before COVID actually came in, I was in Bihar to get some labors for my paddy cultivation. Because I have 12 fields doing paddy, organic paddy. So I had gone there to get the fields, laborers. So I came across this biofloc in their backyard. And actually I had gone for 7 days. I extended my visit by 15 days just to learn more about it. And from there, when I came down, I came with a person to install a biofloc tank in my backyard. And that time it so happened that lockdown came in. I had to keep that person with me for a month and a half. And during that time, I got trained from him. We did a culture of prawns there. He was an experienced guy. I paid him whatever was to be paid. And we got a decent harvest. So from there, I took on biofloc. And since I started experimenting on this, I did a integrated model, which she mentioned, like where I could sustain for 3 months on vegetable. 600 palak heads on top. It was a combination of aquaponic unit and a poultry. So when I came across this biofloc, I found it interesting, started telling my friends who were abroad and all, like, and had to come down to Goa to introduce biofloc. They started, but when the lockdowns and all closed, and when the opportunity came back for them to go back, they left. And we did an installation of around 47 tanks in Goa, out of which only 26 are functioning right now. Because some of them have left and gone back to their job on ship. Because that's easy money. Whereas here, as Sir had said earlier, you need to understand the principle. and not taken up by fancy of the bioflock. Yes, bioflock is very profitable if you do it properly. If you understand and do it, there's big income that you can generate. Okay, so with this, I end. And thanks for CSR and IO for giving me this opportunity to come and express myself. Any questions? Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
It's not a question. My suggestion would be, our university, Karnataka Veterinary Animal and Fisheries Sciences University, has developed new varieties of poultry, Swarna Dara.
Okay.
Swarna means gold, Dara means the giver.
Yeah.
Swarna Dara, it gives 180 to 190 eggs per year and grows 3 kilos in 60 days.
Okay.
Please bring thousands of them and promote the Swarna Dara in Goa.
Yes, sir.
That is the fastest growing poultry variety developed by our university.
I will do that, yes.
Please.
Yes, sir. Another thing I forgot to tell you all is like now I'm setting up 12 tanks of biofloc of my own, which will be 24 tanks next season by 1 year. So in that one tank, since we have this electricity problem and all in Goa and rain problem, I'm making it an integrated. It's an experiment that I'm going to do. Like on top, there will be solar panels one side, and there will be quills. I'll be putting it on a railing. So it's going to be an integrated stuff because the birds shit will be going down in the tank directly. So I'll be cutting down on the feed cost to this.
Now, I request the KVK scientists to closely monitor it and monitor the economics, because people tend to extrapolate it, but try to monitor it very closely and come out with real unit economics so that it can be upscaled by many folds. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Edward Mendes, for sharing your experience on biofloc technology. Now we have with us Mr. Sandeep Ahirao. He will be with us through a virtual platform. Mr. Sandeep Ahirao is involved in sales and marketing for Growing Feed Private Limited, Andhra Pradesh. Growing Feed Private Limited is one of the leading aqua feed manufacturers in India. It is specialized in technical marketing and sales professional, also specialized in aqua feed and aquatic animal health products. Request Mr. Sandeep Ahirao to share his views on status of shrimp feed sector in India. Over to you, Mr. Sandeep Ahirao.
Yeah, thanks a lot for the nice introduction. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Sripada and the entire organizing committee for inviting me for this wonderful meeting. I'm very happy to be amongst you and to meet you virtually and to present about shrimp feed sector in India. So I'll share my screen. Yeah, can you see the screen, my presentation? It's visible, right?
Yeah, visible.
Okay. So basically, I'm a fisheries graduate from Fisheries College Ratnagiri, Maharashtra. And then I did my post-graduation mariculture from CMFRI Cochin. And in the last 34 years, I worked in the shrimp culture sector in India and abroad. 10 years I was into shrimp farming, and then last 24 years I'm into sales and marketing of various aquaculture inputs like aqua health products, probiotics, and then last 10 years into feed sales, aqua feeds for the domestic market as well as for exports. So our company Growell Feeds Private Limited is based 60 kilometers away from Vijayawada in Andhra Pradesh, and we are operational for last more than 12 years into fish feed as well as shrimp feed manufacturing. and also aquarium feeds of different types. And we are also engaged in the processing of shrimp and exports from the same place. That apart, we have red tilapia hatcheries, and then hatchery for marl and sea bass. And then we have 6 diagnostic labs in different states of India to help our farmer friends. So, though the subject is given as status of shrimp feed sector in India, I'll be briefly touching upon the fish feed sector as well as the domestic seafood sector also, which is need of the hour, which already Dr. Manoj Sharma has elaborated on about it, and he's practically doing it also wonderfully. So, in this slide, you can see the important players in the shrimp feed manufacturing in India. So here you can see Avanti Group, CP, Grovel, IB, then other players are there. The latest entrant is Creting from it's a European company. So their plant is getting ready near Surat, Gujarat. Out of this, you have multinational companies like Cargill, Grobest, and now latest Creting. Others are all Indian. Of course, Avanti, CP is also a multinational company. Avanti has a joint venture with Thai Union, Thailand. So this next slide, you can see the major shrimp farming states in India. So obviously, they are all the coastal states, starting with West Bengal, Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, Pondicherry. Pondicherry, not much, but Tamil Nadu. And then West Coast, you have Gujarat, Maharashtra, Goa, Karnataka, Kerala. So almost 90% of the shrimp farming lies on the east coast, 10% on the west coast. Out of this 10%, almost 8% is in Gujarat, mostly South Gujarat, and hardly 2% is shared amongst Maharashtra, Goa, Karnataka, Kerala. Of course, now in the last 5-6 years, good hectarage has come up in Punjab and Rajasthan, Haryana, and it is expanding rapidly. So the problem is they are facing issues with the marketing of the product. Mostly it goes into the domestic market. A little bit they have to ship it there, take it by road to Gujarat, process plants in Gujarat, West Bengal, Odisha. They are facing serious problems. So here you can see the location of the shrimp feed plants. More than 68% are in Andhra Pradesh. Obviously, the hectarage also lies in Andhra Pradesh, whether it is shrimp feed, fish feed. Almost 70% of the activity is in Andhra Pradesh, and that too within three districts of Andhra Pradesh: Krishna, West Godavari, and East Godavari. And here you can see a detailed slide where all the shrimp feed plants are there. It's all mostly focused in the 3 districts of Krishna, West Godavari, and East Godavari. Except one is there in Ongole, 3 are there in Nellore. So here you can see more details, number of feed plants in each state, whether it is shrimp feed or fish feed. Of late, lot of new fish feed plants have come up in the North India, Uttar Pradesh, Chhattisgarh. So because the fish culture is rapidly developing in all those states. All these years, last more than 25, 30 years, Andhra was the main state for fish as well, and then it used to be sent to the North India, and eastern and northeast, northern states. But now, over the period of last 7, 8 years, good hectareage has developed in all those states. Odisha, West Bengal, Northeast, Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Haryana, including culture of trout has picked up very well in the cold water areas of Jammu and Kashmir, Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh. So, and in fact, nowadays, if you are in a big city or even like in Hyderabad, Bangalore, you can easily, at a click of the button, you can order cold water fishes like trout, rainbow trout, and then you have imported salmon. So, that is the advantage. And indirectly, of course, COVID has done a lot of harm for the mankind, but then unknowingly it has done something good for domestic sector marketing of seafood through these apps, different apps. Now, here in this picture, you can see the total installed capacity. We have 2.888 million metric ton, and market size is around 1.25 million metric ton for the shrimp feed. So we are underutilizing our capacity. So unless we develop the domestic market, we are going to have tough time, and our farmers also suffering because they're not able to get consistent pricing and number of issues. Suddenly China will stop buying. They'll say we are testing for COVID. So that has a drastic impact on the pricing for shrimp farmers as well as the entire value chain. Now, what are the main issues for shrimp farming? You have the various bacterial as well as viral diseases. You have white spot virus, EHP, vibriosis, white fecal disease, RMS. RMS is running mortality syndrome. So, like any animal, shrimp is all the more prone because it's an invertebrate. It doesn't have a well-defined immune system. So the farmers have to struggle with all these diseases. So slow growth is being reported in most of the regions, but of course, in the last year onwards, newly SPF tiger has been introduced in the country from US as well as from Madagascar, and that is doing extremely well. Touch wood. And, that is a game changer for the shrimp farming sector in India, especially for Gujarat and other western coast. They were suffering from crop failures for Vanami for last 3, 4 years. And so this has come as a savior for the shrimp farmers, West Coast as well as East Coast. Then what are all the technological changes recently introduced? So one of them is usage of like automation. So you smart auto feeders, here you can see in the picture, and then use of IoT for for controlling so many of the farm operations, including monitoring of the power. And because of that, suppose night time there is a power failure in 2 o'clock. Suppose your farm supervisor is sleeping, is forgotten to switch on the aerators. The owner will get a message as well as voice call also, alerting him. So he can check on his smartphone screen. Out of suppose he is having 50 aerators, how many of them have been switched on in case of power cut? Then he can take immediate corrective action. So apart from that, usage of functional feeds has come up in the last few years. So normal feed, everybody uses shrimp feed, fish feed, but in functional feed, it's a value-added feed. It will have specific properties like it will boost the immunity of the animal. It will improve the survival, give better FCR and better quality of meat, better taste, better coloration. So these are all the latest developments. And of course, other one is regular usage of probiotics, the beneficial microbes. for improving the pond bottom quality as well as pond water quality. At the same time, it's also given through feed to help the animal in digesting the feed in a more efficient manner. So this the technical details. I'll skip the slides. So this you can see a photograph of our feed plant. So this is just hardly 1 hour drive, 45 kilometers from Bhimavaram. Bhimavaram is considered as the aquaculture capital of India in West Godavari district. It's a huge market, like it's like an ocean. For shrimp feed, West Godavari district alone has 3 lakh metric ton per annum capacity, so which is out of the total 1.2. So you can imagine. So what are all the pains being felt by the shrimp feed sector and especially the shrimp feed manufacturers? One is reduced availability of fish meal in India. See, this we need the policy correction here. Somehow, our government has been focusing on exploiting the fisheries resources within India for manufacturing the fish meal. Most of the plants are in and around Mangalore, few of them in North Gujarat, Porbandar, very few in Tuticorin side, Tamil Nadu. But we are exploiting our resources to a point that now you have there is a fish famine. It's very difficult to get sardines, which is the main source of the fish for manufacturing meal. And now even for human beings, previously 50 rupees kilo you'll get sardines. Now even if you pay 200 rupees, very difficult to buy sardines. You want to buy for your house also. So there is a high time our government encourages import of fish meal so that we don't further over exploit our fishery resources. So second is the decline in the quality of local fish meal, naturally because availability is very poor. And third is the lack of availability of good quality animal protein sources. Both is reliable only on local soybean meal due to restrictions in import. So as per our government rules, you cannot import soybean. And India is one of the few countries in the world where we have non-GM soya. But the downside is because of that, the productivity is very less. And then last year there was a very alarming situation. The soybean meal, which used to be available for 35, 40 rupees kilo, the prices started skyrocketing. It touched 60, 70, it touched almost 105 rupees at one point of time. That is when the government of India, for the first time in the history of our country, allowed import of soybean meal just for a stopgap measure, hardly for some 3 months. But that was very helpful. Otherwise, all the aqua feed manufacturers, poultry feed, cattle feed manufacturers, everybody was suffering badly. And then the prices of the fish feed and shrimp feed went up, hit the roof. So that affected the economics totally. Now we are very proud that Grovel is one of the few aqua feed manufacturers from our country, exporting to more than 12 countries. So our fish feed and shrimp feed we are exporting to these countries. You can see in Africa, Middle East, and South Asia. One Southeast Asian country also there, Malaysia. And it's really a matter of pride now. We've got order from Russia for export of trout feed. So as you know, trout, we don't find trout in India except for the cold water regions. But then we have already developed that feed and now we'll be starting the export next month onwards to Russia. And Saudi Arabia is one of our biggest clients. Many of you must be knowing that the world's biggest shrimp farm is in Saudi Arabia. It's called, old name is NPC, National Prawn Company. New name is, last 7 years ago, they changed the name. National Aquaculture Group. You can see their website. So it's 4,500 hectare shrimp farm. So they have been regularly buying our shrimp feed for the last 6 years. This is the 6th year. Average 20 to 25,000 tons per year. So here briefly about our plant. It's a capacity of 4 lakh metric ton per annum. 50% shrimp feed, 50% for fish feed. So SCADA controlled control panel. Here this is the Grovell Innovation Center. You can see in the photograph. It's a very sophisticated R&D center. We have 80 fiberglass tanks you can see here. So we have a recirculation aquaculture system for all the biosecure trials. In this picture, you can see the outdoor R&D ponds, outdoor R&D cages, sorry. We have 120 floating cages there. So this is the photograph of the 6 aquaculture, aqua labs we have in different parts of the country, the coastal areas. The latest one we started in Punjab now, just 2 months ago, through our dealer. So this is the drone shot of our factories. There you can see this is the feed unit, unit 1, unit 2. And this is the corner, you have the Grovell Innovation Center. We have the outdoor R&D cages. And here, diagonally opposite, you have the Grovell processors, seafood process plant. Now we are putting up a new plant for fish processing, that is for tilapia and pangasius, in the nearby place, very near to the existing plant. Now, just to give you a bird's eye view about the market situation, India is a leading exporter and we have a lion's share in the EU market as well as the other markets, US, China, Japan. So we have been exporting 8.64 lakh tons of shrimp, frozen shrimp every year. So the exporters need to move up the value chain by making more value-added products and establishing distribution network in the marketplace. So we need to work on the new markets as a lead exporter. Otherwise, we cannot get a very remunerative price for our farmers. Like domestic, I mean, the fish culture, whatever we are doing in India, it goes to the domestic market, almost 98, 99%. So similarly, we need to do that for shrimp culture as well. And so Dr. Manoj Sharma has taken the very bold step 3 to 4 years ago. And that is a fantastic success story. We started a Jingalala restaurant, seafood restaurant, followed by Jingalala Fresh. So like that, unless we have some 1,000 Jingalalas, we cannot have a consistent success in terms of pricing policy for our farmers. So coming to fish farming, here again now the new species are getting introduced, though very slowly. So I'll tell you more about that. So here you can see this is marl fish, snakehead, Channa species. This is very popular, very expensive fish, especially in Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, and many other parts of the country. It will fetch anything from 400 to 450 rupees per kg in the retail market. Telugu, we call it koramin. So it's very popular in Southeast Asia already. So slowly it is picking up in India. We have established a marl hatchery to speed up this process. And then you have this magur, Clarius batrachus. And tilapia also, we are very slow, but Bangladesh, which is a neighboring country, which is far ahead of us in terms of tilapia production. So that apart, we have abundant potential for ornamental fish farming, but that also the offtake is very slow. Kerala is one state which is doing very well in ornamental fish farming. Our neighboring country, Sri Lanka, such a tiny country, but they are doing wonders with ornamental fish breeding and exports. I was surprised because I frequently visit there. They have a separate central minister for aquarium fish. Can you imagine? There is a separate ministry for developing that. That much attention they are giving for that segment. So here in this photograph, you can see there is the twin screw extruder from Wenger, USA. So this gives us a lot of flexibility for manufacturing different types of feeds for a wide range of species. So what do we need to do for developing the fish feed sector? So development further depending on the scale up of production and processing of fish for domestic and export markets. Though we are major producer of Pangasius, which is commonly called as Basa, it's very unfortunate that uh, our restaurant owners, our marketing agencies, they are importing huge quantities of frozen Basa fillet from Vietnam. Thanks God, in the last 6 months, it has stopped because of certain action taken by the central government. So now we are having very good offtake for the domestic Basa. In fact, there is a short supply right now in the market for Basa fillet. There are only two producers of Basa fillet currently, so more companies need to come into this. There are number of people, but they make very small quantities, 5 ton, 10 ton per day. The major producers are only two. One is in Bhimavaram, other is near Vijayawada. So, the other thing is introduction of new species like sea bass, marl, and ornamental fishes needs to be speeded up. Development of cage culture in reservoir and open sea. I was very happy to see the presentation uh, for regarding cage culture in Hirakud just half an hour ago. So that's fantastic development. Then other is introduction of enzyme coated feeds and other functional feeds is very important. And then introduction of high fat feeds for marine species. This is also need of the hour. So which is our company is a pioneer in that. So coming to the domestic marketing, here you can see you have a company called Licious. I'm sure many of you are familiar. So my family is in Chennai. Whenever I go there, I freak out by on different varieties of seafood by ordering through Licious and this Fipola, tender cuts. You get good varieties. Can you imagine 3-4 years ago? You can't even imagine that you can order exotic species like salmon or rainbow trout or say our hilsa from West Bengal. Now you can easily get it at the click of the button to your smartphone. Just order it within 1 hour, it will be delivered to your house, ready to cook. So this is an incredible success story of Licious. Now they're having a turnover of more than 1,000 crores in the short span of 5 years since started the company. Of course, they sell everything, mutton, chicken, fish. So fish and prawn component may be hardly 30 to 40%. More than 60% is mutton and chicken. So here you can see another company, Fipola. Then tender cuts. Fish Fanatics is one of our juniors from Fisheries College Ratnagiri has started. It's Pune based company. They are also doing wonderful job, very successful. This is Pesca Fresh from Mumbai. Then Bangalore, you have Fresh to Home, that they're also doing very well. Last month we had a Aqua India program for Society of Aquaculture Professionals in Chennai. So there, the Chief R&D officer gave a wonderful presentation, Fresh to Home. So here you can see the marketing salmon. So that's all from my side. This is again a bird's eye view of our feed plant, Unit 1, Unit 2. So, any questions, please let me know. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sandeep Airao, for your informative talk.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. My question is, aquaculture is frequently criticized due to its use of fish meal, because we can sometimes it is said like we are not actually increasing the volume of fish. It is only quality from the means we are producing fish for the or shrimp for the elite people. So what do you think, like what are the replacement or substitute for the fish meal in future, and what are the possibilities to means reduce the stress on fish meal for the sustainable fishery?
Yeah, wonderful question. Now, first of all, this is the biggest problem, this perception that shrimp or prawn is meant only for elite people, as you said, which is a very wrong this thing, presumption. But unfortunately, everybody thinks like that. You see, simple example, we we pay happily 800 rupees kilo to buy 1 kilogram of mutton. We don't think twice. Out of that, I think more than 40% is bones. And then when you want to buy prawns, if you want to buy 100 count prawn, there's no way it can cost more than 400 rupees. And still, I don't know why that people are telling it is meant for only elites. So that's a wrong presumption. Okay, coming to fish meal, definitely that is a valid point. And then a lot of R&D is going on this subject. And now there is a big uh, industry has come up in many countries. India also it's there, but it needs to catch up. We need volumes. That is alternate protein sources. What is alternate to fish meal? So one is BSF, black soldier fly. Then you have mealworms. There are 2, 3 types of insects, insect protein that has been approved in Europe even for human feed. That insect protein for making candy bars and all that. So that is being used in big way into aqua feed manufacturing. So it's a question of time. It will be available in India at a proper price, and then our dependence on fish meal will come down in the years to come, for sure. Yeah. Anything else? Other questions, please.
It's done. Thank you, Mr. Sandeep Ahirao, for your informative talk. We thank
you,
everyone
madam.
present here and also who are watching us online for the interesting section we completed just now. Today's plenary talk highlighted on various aspects of aquaculture, which were very interesting and knowledgeable. Now we will move on panel discussion, where we have with us Dr. Rishikesh Pawar, scientist, KVK, South Goa, Department of Agriculture, Goa. Dr. V. Sanil Kumar, Chief Scientist and Head Business Development, CSIR NIO. Then we have Dr. Trivesh Mayekar, Scientist, ICR, Old Goa. Also, Dr. Narsiya Thakur, Senior Principal Scientist, CSIR NIO, Goa. Sri Hemant Kulkarni, Senior Principal Scientist, CSIR, TMB. And we also have Mr. Chandresh Haldankar, Superintendent of Fisheries, Goa, Department of Fisheries. First, we'll ask Dr. Rishikesh Pawar. We will like to know what is the role of fishery department in the farmer's life and what are your expectations from NIO?
Good afternoon, everyone. Actually, for fisheries department, I think Chandresh will speak because he is the superintendent in fisheries department. I will tell like what actually we expect from NIO. Like NIO has started a skill development center. So for our fishermen and fish farmers, they should impart like specific trainings like for the skill development. Another thing, like we can say, as the NIO is having expert in water testing, So there is a as such not well set up water testing laboratory, especially for the aquaculture parameters. We are having for pollution control and all, but for the water testing for the aquaculture parameters is required. So if as NIO is having already expertise in that, if they can assist our farmers and even give the trainings for the water testing and all, it will be beneficial. Another thing, a diagnosis, there is a problem, particularly in shrimp and pig. As the NIO is also having a well set microbiology laboratories and biotechnology laboratories. So with their available resources, that it will be good for the farmers from the Goa for that. Another thing, like we can say, we are on daily basis, even in I stay at a Madgaon, so tons of fish dressing waste is generated as we are having wholesale market and all. So that waste management is a really big problem. We are on daily basis we are seeing in the news. So NIO has, I came to know they have already developed the technology to process the waste, so it can be used as a fertilizer or any means liquid fertilizer, solid fertilizer for the growing agriculture yield in an organic way. So that this, and we are expecting NIO to assist us for the development means for waste management. Another I did a PhD on CEOs in NIO only. So I feel like NIO having expert in CEOs. So we should come up with a kind of reservoir, because we are having a bio reservoir or something with nearby Salim Ali Sanctuary or that conservation sanctuaries there or nearby area. So we can link that CEOs, that is a unique thing, with tourism, as we are Goa is the capital of tourism capital of India. So if we can do in that way or develop, so it will help to generate employment as well as conservation of seahorse. Thank you.
I think this Ashripada sir can reply to his question on this seahorse and
This seahorse bioreserve is a good concept, so that the fishermen also get employment, and at the same time we can able to conserve the seahorse populations as well. So the local now every day want to see the animals live, because so it is being done in Brazil. The fishermen are going in a boat and taking the tourists, and they are showing the live in a glass bottle. So that will generate a lot of enthusiasm. Also, it will also enthusiasm about the our biodiversity among the stakeholders. Yeah, thank you, Rishikesh.
Mr. Chandresh Halgankar can tell us about fishery department with farmers, how they are involved.
Yeah, thank you very much for giving us the opportunity. Basically, first of all, as a Department of Fisheries is concerned, we are mostly concentrating on welfare of the fishermen. Basically, the capture fisheries, the fishermen who are involved in capture fisheries. And now also we are trying to take up with the aquaculture farmers also, because there are a lot of technologies which has been traditionally practiced, and now new technology which are being introduced. So a lot of people are taking into that. The first and foremost, the department, what would like to see is the skill development, because people new technologies are coming up. But the thing is department itself in-house don't have any such experts, or department officials need some training or skill development in the new concept. So in the way we can promote the same to the farmers. Basically, the reason is this, because we are promoting the schemes, as everyone was saying about the PMMSY scheme. Basically, the PMMSY scheme is mostly routed through, or mostly promoted through the Department of Fisheries. So there are a lot of schemes, around 60, 70 schemes are there. But the thing is, people are directly coming to us, they want these things, or they are interested in particular scheme. But due to lack of expertise and skill development in that particular program or in that particular concept, we are not able to sometime take forward. Like some things which has been recently introduced, like say biofloc, RAS. Now some Mendy, this sorry, Edward Mendes is there. He was invited most of the time by the department for taking up the trainings. And he has taken a lot, I can say around 15, 20 trainings he has taken on behalf of this department. And he has also trained lot of people. Like that, if such trainings can be done for the officers and for the entrepreneurs also, that will be very helpful for us. Then there was one mention in Sripada sir's slide, like cage culture in mining pits, for which I would like to inform in year 2017-18, department was trying the same concept to start the mining pits were almost closed in 2012, and after there are no mining activities at all. But there is huge water area which can be utilized, but there are some constraint in that part as such, like some mining pits are very deep, or the depth of that mining pits are not known by that mine owners, and there are issues with respect to lease and the ownership. That's why we are not able to go ahead with that concept. But still the idea is on in our mind. Even our director madam is trying a lot to utilize that area. If that can be tapped very much, if help of the institute or anything, then that can be a revolutionary to the Goa, as like, because there are because one of the prime activity of the Goa was mining, and now the same activity is not going on, and lot of people are dependent on that. So that is also one of the thing we would like to get from the institute. Then third comes is the marine policy. As everyone knows that Goa is the first state to come with the mariculture policy. That was introduced in introduced in year 2020, but since last 2 years not received any application, except 2 3 application we have received just now. But after that we are also amended certain clauses in the scheme, as like the it was earlier restricted to the Goan people only. Residents should be compulsory for the policy. That clause also we have relaxed some 4 months back, and we are expecting more people to come into this picture. Now the one thing is like Mother Ocean. They have submitted one proposal that is very good concept, and we are also in talks with them. And most probably, if everything goes well, then the project would come up, because there are other things involved in that. So mariculture is the one of the policy what which the Goa is having, and Mr. Kamath, he was talking about the cage culture and all. But I would like to inform, like, as we have now open to everyone, I mean, any citizen of India can come and approach for the policy. If they are, if they have some of their entrepreneurs or their company can come forward, we can definitely provide them support with a local fisherman or local guy, and we can start with a small concept or a limited area. So if the technology clicks up, then definitely it can go ahead. The last thing is like about the new technologies like biofloc, RAS. Now even some 2 3 applicant have started with vertical crab farming also. But the thing is like we are not going ahead, because now the applicant are coming to us and saying that we are started with so and so concept, and then we are going into that part. The department is looking into that. But I would like to say, like, department wants to promote such activities, so that people will come to us and say that we would like to take this activity. Right now it is going opposite. The applicant is coming and telling to us like, we have already started this concept, or we are interested. Rather, we would like to say like, department will introduce that concept and people should come to us. This is the thing we would like to get from the institute support. Thank you.
Just now, Rishikesh said that some diseases in the fishes. So I would like to ask Dr. Thakur for it. These farmers encounter so many diseases during this fish farming. How we can help this farmer with marine natural products if we what we have? Is it any initiative is taken by us or need to take?
Yes, this is regarding fish disease diagnostics and treatment for that. So I would like to highlight two things here, like marine nature products. Yesterday we had a iConnect event, virtual mode, where we discussed the application of marine nature products in various areas, mostly human benefit. But for aquaculture and fisheries, definitely there are marine nature products which we can use not as antibiotics, but like immunostimulants, prebiotics, probiotics, or phytobiotics. this kind of product development at initial stage recently initiated under Bioprosper project of marine biotechnology. And second part is the diagnostics. Definitely, we have a strong group of molecular biology and the diagnostics, especially for prawns and all other things. This activity was started long back, but I think we should go ahead in this particular field, and there should be a PCR lab or this at least basic facility to diagnose at in Goa, because I think there is no facility available in Goa, and Dr. Rishikesh has highlighted this issue. We would definitely think about it. So I would say from NIO part of R&D program, we can take up two things. One is the marine nature products for as a fish or feed additives, immunostimulants, probiotics and all. And then from diagnostic fronts, I won't say that we can do some new methods, establish new methods for diagnostics, but at least PCR lab for testing and serving our farmers in Goa. Thank you.
We have Dr. Tivesh Maekar with us. We will like to know about what are the problems and what are the prospects of these ornamental fishes in India. You are dealing with the ornamental fishes, am I right?
Yeah. Thank you for a question on ornamental fisheries. I would like to answer like that means ornamental fish industry is very much popular hobby after the photography. Photography is first, after that ornamental. But in India, there are many hobbies, but there is a need to develop into industry. It is need to develop it as an industry, and the training is very much essential part in it. And from ICR, we are giving training for ornamental fish breeding and development of entrepreneurship in it. So as far as Goa is concerned, what I can say, there is a need to develop ornamental village. Like in Tamil Nadu, there is a village called Kolathur. So scope is there to develop, to identify particular village and to develop it as a whole village as an ornamental fish industry. Other than that, there are other areas in India like Mumbai is there, even Kolkata is there. So who are interested, they can bring the seed or from these wholesale markets and start larval rearing as a nursery rearing, because there is a huge profit margin in ornamental fish selling. So sale point of view, there are different fishes like live birds are there, even high valued fishes like Oscar and other are there. So in Goa, my observation is that there is a more demand for low value fishes, say 50 rupees to 100 rupees. So people need to target those selected species where there are buyers, because without market you cannot sell the fish. And another thing, development of broodstock, or you can say broodstock center for high valued ornamental fishes. So there is need, even I can request Department of Fisheries to develop some specific ornamental broodstock center where the breeders can get a good broodstock, because that is the essential part of getting good seed. So that is one necessary part. And also under PMSSY, there is a lot of funding available for ornamental entrepreneurship. So I request to take the benefit of that funding under PMSSY. Thank you.
Actually, some months back, some people had approached us for this ornamental fishing. They wanted to work on it. I hope if anybody is there in the public and they are listening to you, they will surely contact you on that.
Yeah, anytime they can contact ICR.
We have with us Dr. Sanil Kumar, Chief Scientist, Head in Business Development. Sir, I will like you to explain how these industries or the stakeholders which are there, they can contact NIO with regards to any particular technology or any help if fisherman needs, how they can come to NIO so that they can have direct contact.
So NIO, we are having expertise like 220 scientific technical staff here with expertise in all aspects. Like we are having biologists, chemical oceanographer, physical oceanographer, means all these things, because when you wanted to have facility in the either in the coast or in the open ocean or in the estuary, all these things. So we need some oceanographic condition and things like that. So we are having a very good expertise here, and we are having a lab also here, do almost all the testing and all. So when a facility you are planning along the coast, so then either CRZ demarcation. So we are one of the authorized agency for doing that. Then that industry, whatever is coming in along the coast, then you wanted to have either seawater intake system for your pond or something, or your treated waste where it has to be disposed. So we are doing type of work for different industries. Around 1,600 industry project we have already completed, and most of the things apart from that impact assessment. Now, when a facility is put, so what is the impact of that facility on the environment? So now when you go to the coastal area or in the open ocean, so then the things changes, because then that oceanographic condition is changing, because currents, flow of water, because if you are planning a cage culture in the open ocean or a waves during the monsoon, so we measure up to 10 meters wave and all. So it is like a 3 to 4 story building height waves are there. So this facility has to withstand basically in the month of June, July. So we can clearly tell which are the area, and there are some pockets where there are isolated area or where sheltered areas. So these are the areas where we can put up this type of things, like island area. There are some offshore islands and also behind that there will be a shelter area. Then what is the water depth in that area, because near shore profile. So we have done this type of things for different like ports and harbor, oil and gas industries, chemical and pharma companies coming under the coast. So we are regularly doing this type of work. So all these things we will be able to help any industry coming. So preliminary information, whatever available information itself, I think some companies already has contacted us and we have provided whatever is available information. Anyway, we are giving, just we will freely we can share with that, and whatever any specific studies required, just send an email, because when you go to that there is a director at NIO.org. So immediately within 1 or 2 days we submit a proposal to you, and then we discuss with you, and so what are the requirement, then it is very easy process, and within 2 3 days we start the work, because if it is an Indian agency there is no problem. It will be only a foreign agency involvement only, so then we have to get some clearance and things. Otherwise we just do, and it's only just a work order, just a sign between institute and the agencies, and whatever is possible we'll be able to do.
Thank you, sir. Sir, Dr. Shivkumar Magda, I will like to ask you one thing. Just now we discussed that there is a requirement of skilled people in this fisheries. What do you think about it?
In fact, enough science is already known. Skill is also known. Ornamental fish industry is not the issue with the production. It is the issue with the marketing. That's what, whenever you want to train the farmers, first train them on marketing. So now hundreds, thousands of apartments are coming. You promote the ornamental fishes in the name of Vastu. As a scientist, I don't promote Vastu, but people believe that there's a huge market. And pedicure and manicure is coming up in a big way. And you collect the you cannot create the village like that. It is the Kolathur is created by themselves. So likewise, you train the community to collect the wild fishes and keep them live and sell it live for the pedicure and manicure, this thing. And thousands of aquatic plants are available in this Goan region. If you know how to just collect and tissue culture, everybody knows the general botany, general science. And one of the farmers is exporting 300 varieties of aquatic plants from Bangalore. And there's a huge market. That's what, if you identify the wrong gap, you'll fail miserable. So definitely India has huge market, but you should know how to tap it. About somebody asked about the involvement of department. I request all the any institutes while formulating the research program, you involve the industry, involve the department people, so that our investment will not go waste. If we do research based on hypothesis, 98% will go waste. So that's what we have to take. Of course, some basic research is required, but we have to take issue-based, need-based, region-specific research so that our effort will not go waste. About diseases, so water treatment we know, disinfection using chlorine, EDTA, filtering, UV, all that. So even for biofloc and RAS, take the cleanest of the clean water so that 98% of the problem will be solved by only treating the water. Later diagnostic molecular technique piece are all that comes later. If you can monitor the data and health water quality parameters on a regular basis, because all the fishes will not die at once. If you monitor the water quality and observe the fish regularly, because nature will give you the sign. Nothing will come without giving the signal. So if you can maintain that, even in the cages, just maintain the plain water quality parameters, precisely you can fix the issues. So there are factors which are always associated with the success. Identify them and you will succeed. So let us break our walls, make the simple. We are just trying to complicate the science. Science basically it's a simple. The purpose of science is to create new knowledge. We are busy in learning the data. That is not the science. That is history. The purpose of science is to create new knowledge, appreciating others' knowledge. That's why we do review of literature first. We appreciate all others who have done, traveled in that line, and organized curiosity and logical skepticism. So I did not know that NIO is so open. Earlier, once in a year, they used to open the doors. No longer you will sustain like that. India cannot afford to do that. Let us open all the doors, learn. We are here to teach, but at the same time, we should be ready to learn also. So thank you. Let us work together. And science is for humanity and peace. Let us progress towards it. Thank you very much.
Last, I will just ask Kulkarni if he has anything to add up in the.
Thank you. It's been an interesting journey for a person who doesn't know ABC of fish technology or a cage technology. At headquarters, we manage projects, programs, but always we wonder what's a disconnect? And today, after listening to Dr. Sharma, Magadaji, I think everything we have. What we don't have is a mindset to connect these missing dots. Let me give you a very small case. Fish technology, if you look at whose ownership it is. So I guess it's a Ministry of Fisheries, which is supposed to, on a larger scale, operate the schemes for the benefit of society, fishermen, and so on and so forth. I would suggest Ministry of Fisheries to document the schemes that it has, in a sense, for a wider dissemination, identify thrust areas, identify people like Sharma ji, Magda ji, other experts who presented, maybe a few more, I don't know. On the industry side, on the technical side, NIO, likewise other institutes. On the third hand side, intermediaries who are going to be implementing those projects. I mean, engineering firms like PhDs or, the student company or any other company which is in that space. And most importantly, what is the direction? What is the target that they would like to set? One, to promote this industry as a household. Second, looking at the bigger picture and taking it to a very high level. Some of the technologies that we discussed could bring in millions of dollars if taken forward properly. How do we take it? I think this is a start, and this industry engagement should give some idea as to how they should build a roadmap. It's not only fisheries department, because MSME comes in, our law ministry or policy comes in, scientific departments also come in. So I think one way to go forward is to take the cues from today, maybe develop short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals and take these projects forward. That is one aspect. Second aspect, how do you create, like one of the things that were discussed is creation of trained manpower, quality control, certification. I mean, these are all very, very essential. But somebody has to draw a roadmap for it. Who will draw the roadmap? What will be done at NIO? What will be done at somebody else? I mean, we have to identify the institutions and may either ask them to come or we need to send. So basically, there has to be a continuous plan for manpower development, quality controls, certification facilities, and it should be dynamic. Today you have these kind of diseases, tomorrow something else will come in. Today you're talking about shrimps and others, tomorrow then you'll come to ornamental kind of a thing. So this will be work in progress, but we need to set the direction and we need to have a mechanism so that midterm course corrections and other things that are required are implemented. So I think few of the things that we can from my point of view, takeaway for me is we have everything that we need, but we need to connect the dots. One of the most important thing I really appreciated, how does a farmer market? Marketing is the most important bottleneck. And how do we help anybody to reach out to the market to realize? Can we think of something like Lucius is one of the companies that people talked about, but is there any other platform or any other mechanism to, promote marketing so that the entrepreneurs or fishermen get their livelihood? So I think ideas are there, but ideas need to be sought. One of the thing is that maybe someone can put up a platform where the ideas are sought or challenges are, kind of posted and said, kindly give us suggestions. Maybe people from Goa, maybe people from nearby places themselves will say, if you do this, we can do it. I mean, very static example Mantaji gave. So I think everything is possible. We need to plan it out and we need to take it in stages in a systematic way. I think that's all from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Now I will request Harish Ripadaji for the closing remarks.
Hello. Now, after a fruitful discussion and interaction, we have come to a concluding session. So I will not take much time because already we exceeded the time half an hour as per the schedule. I thank all the members, the distinguished speakers and representatives of industries panel and dear colleagues. So we have come to a conclusion that the issues are diverse and it has to be aquaculture itself is a multidisciplinary subject from the marketing, production, feed, so many factors are involved each stage. So there is a need actually, Mr. Hemant Kulkarni sir has told, there is a need to sit together and discuss brainstorming. So that is a need that we'll soon have an opportunity to arrange the extended discussion on the topics which have been come out to the table. So we'll have this one and come and fix a new roadmap. What has been happening and what precautions we have to take and how to move ahead cautiously and sustainably. I thank you. Yeah.
Now I request Dr. Supriya Tilvi, Principal Scientist, CSIR NIO, for the vote of thanks.
A very good afternoon to you all. It is my great privilege to have been asked to propose vote of thanks for this event I-70A, which was specially designed for the benefit of our local fishermen and other stakeholders. A big thank you to our Director, Sir Professor Sunil Kumar Singh, CSIR NIO, for guiding and encouraging us throughout. Thank you, sir. I, on behalf of CSIR NIO and on my personal behalf, extend a very hearty thank you to the Theme Director of E3OW, Dr. V.M. Tiwari, Director, CSIR NGRI, for his valuable remarks. A big thank you to Mr. Hemant Kulkarni, Senior Principal Scientist and Head TMD CSIR, for gracing this event. And also, thank you, sir, for coordinating all the events under Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. I would like to take this opportunity to thank you, Sri R. A. Sripada, Senior Principal Scientist and Coordinator of this event, and also for giving overview of all the R&D activities on aquaculture at this institute. We were fortunate to have eminent speakers from all arenas of aquaculture. I deeply appreciate their wonderful presentation and for sharing their expertise. I thank you, Dr. Anas, Principal Scientist, CSIR NIO, Dr. Manoj Sharma, Director, Mayank Aquaculture Private Limited, Mr. Mitesh Shah, Director, Mother Oceans Private Limited, Dr. Shivkumar Magda, Dean, College of Fisheries, Mangalore, Captain Ajit Kamath, Head, Marine Division, Sangir Plastics Private Limited, Mr. Edward Mendes, CEO, Inland Aquaculture, and Mr. Sandeep Abhirao from Grovel Feeds Private Limited. Thank you all for enlightening us with your encouraging talks. I express my gratitude to all the panel members for sharing their expertise and views with our audience on how to way forward for sustainable blue revolutions in India. Thank you, Dr. Ritikesh Pawar, Scientist, Department of Agriculture, Goa. Dr. V. Sanil Kumar, Chief Scientist and Head, BDG, CSIR NIO. Dr. Trivesh Maikar, Scientist, ICAR, Goa. Dr. Narsimha Thakur, Senior Principal Scientist, CSIR NIO. Mr. Chandresh Haldankar, Superintendent of Fisheries, Goa. And Mr. Hemant Kulkarni, Head, DMD, CSIR. Thank you all. I sincerely acknowledge efforts of my colleague Dr. Rakhi Khandepalkar, Principal Scientist, for comparing this event. I would like to extend my thank you to NFDC team Delhi, our technical team, including Dr. Yatish, Mr. Ryan, Mr. Akshay, Mr. Jay Singh, Mr. Manoranjan, Mr. Shubham, and his team for rendering all the technical support throughout for successfully carrying this event and streaming it live. Thank you to all the staffs of Director's Office for rendering all the help required. Thanks to all our enthusiastic team of students. Without their efforts, this wouldn't have been possible. My deepest sense of appreciation to all the officials come from Fishery Department and also from ICAR Goa and other stakeholders who spared their time to attend this event. Thank you one and all who are attending this event online and as well as offline. Thank you. Jai Hind. A small announcement, please join for another iConnect event, that is iCN-70B at 3 p.m. Also, this seminar hall will be open, whoever wants to see the event online. Thank you.
We'll go for a photograph now.